Chris, we welcome you in tonight. The Firebirds clad in all red with their white jerseys, or their white numerals, if you will, outlined in the marigold. And they will start working right to left. For the Salpointe Catholic Lancers, they are clad in all white with their patented maroon trim. A 3-down lineman to start the game. It's a snap back to the quarterback, and it is a first play of the game. Is a pass outside. The starting quarterback for the Birds tonight is Miles Vandenheuvel. And for Vandenheuvel, a two-sport athlete here, a right-handed signal caller, first pass of the game, Chris, goes to the outside to Plas Johnson, good for a completion, as the Birds pick up 5 on the opening play of the 2022 season.
Little hitch route, great way to get your quarterback in rhythm, get an early touch to your receiver. Nice first call. Just test, see how well that corner is going to come up and tackle. So you got 2nd and 5 here.
It'll be a 2nd down and 5 from the 25-yard line. Again, working right to left. Snap back, rolling to the far side is Vandenheuvel. He's going to tuck it, run. He's to the 25, to the 30, and he'll be upended around the, we'll call it the 29-yard line. Good pursuit to the football by the Lancers.
You can tell that Vandenheuvel played some running back last year. He's got really good feet, gets over his pads when he runs. He's dangerous with the football in his hands. One
of the captains for Salpointe Catholic, number 11, Mason Sanchez, right there in on the tackle. In fact, we'll give you the captains here for Chaparral. The quarterback, Miles Vandenheuvel. Gavin Gewiniger will also be a captain. Luke Franz is also a captain, and that is 3 of the 4. We'll get you the 4th captain here. This will be a 1st and 10 after the measurement. They gave him the forward progress to the 30-yard line, and it'll be Vandenheuvel on the quarterback. He breaks a tackle on the backfield. He's going to somehow get positive yardage. Nice play there as he broke a tackle. There was pursuit in the backfield for the Lancers front 4, and it was Vandenheuvel showing you his athletic prowess right there and the strength to slip through that tackle to pick up another 4-yard, we'll call it a 5-yard gain, Chris.
Yeah, those are the plays you can't really script. You have an unblocked blitzer, gets right through. Vandenheuvel makes a miss in the backfield and turns it into a positive play. It's a great play.
2nd down and 5 from the 35-yard line. 3 wide receiver package now for Miles Vandenheuvel. He works out of the pistol. Behind him is his tailback flank to his right. First carry of the game for the Chaparral Firebirds on the ground. And running with the rock is Maximo Harris. So Harris, the ball carrier, he is strung out for no gain. In fact, maybe a loss there. A couple of guys defensively out of that secondary. Jackson Green there defensively for the Lancers, and Connor Reitzman also in the area. And we'll have our first penalty marker of the night here, Chris.
Yeah, one of the guys to watch on Salpointe is number 95, Elijah Rushing. He's their leading returning tackler, 5-star recruit at the end. He is long and lean, very explosive.
About 6'6", 245, Chris. He is definitely long and lean. He's got an athletic punch to him, and he is certainly a player that we will look out for here this evening. Look for him, number 95 on the edge. Again, you just mentioned the attributes. 6'6", 245 pounds. That is, he looks like a Sunday body right now, Chris.
It's a big man out there.
Holy smokes. The penalty yardage will send the Birds back to their own 25-yard line. It'll be a 2nd and 15 from their own 25-yard line. Here comes a heavy pass play, and they'll dump it off underneath. A big-time rush. Rushing was there, no pun intended. And a nice play call there by the Birds and head coach Brent Barnes as they dump it off on a drag route. Picking up his first catch of the night is Cody Judge. And you talked about the play call on the first play of the night, Chris. That was a nice call right there. You knew the pressure was coming, and the Lancers brought it, and the Firebirds matched it with a nice screen over the middle.
Nice little shallow route. And what you're trying to do when you're behind the sticks is just get back to a manageable 3rd down. And they're in a 3rd and 8, which isn't ideal, but it's definitely doable.
Vandenheuvel, a 7-yard reception to Cody Judge. 3rd and 8 from the 32-yard line. Once again, working right to left, 3 wide receiver package. Here come the Lancers. Good pickup on the pass rush there by the Birds front line. Pass outside. Intended receiver was Zachary House, and that one just sailed on Vandenheuvel. But you can tell right away that Vandenheuvel shows you a lot of athletic ability. He's got some speed, and it looks like he could be a playmaker, a dual threat kid, if you will.
Absolutely. I think we're going to see a lot more of him coming out on the edge. They had that blocked up really well. He probably could have tucked it and ran, but he had the guy open, just like you said, sailed on him a bit.
So many new playmakers here for both teams, Chris. In fact, Both of these teams played in their respective conference championship games just a year ago, and oddly enough, both these teams came up on the short end of those championship games.
These are two perennial powerhouses in Arizona. They don't rebuild, they reload, and I think you're getting a lot of seniors that are getting their first chance to show what they can do, and I think we should get a real treat here for a first game.
Gage Felix back deep. He's one of the returning playmakers for the Salpointe Catholic Lancers. Great punt by the Birds. See if we can pick up the punter. And we're going to double check that. I missed the number, Chris, on the punter. For the life of me, I want to say it could have been Vanden Heuvel, but I don't think it was the quarterback. We'll work on that, as this is just game number 1 here on opening night around the Valley of the Sun. Kickoff time right near 7 o'clock. Now, we will go ahead and caution you. There is quite a bit of wind in the area, and there's some lightning in the distance as well, so we could be playing under some monsoon-type conditions here throughout these 4 quarters. All right, Salpointe with their first possession of the football game. They run a play fake, and they're going to run outside. Their quarterback is... It should have been the starter. It's Taylor.
Fredo Sotelo, number 18.
There it is. That is right there. Fredo.
Yeah, nice, quick, easy reception. Again, getting in rhythm, getting to a manageable second down.
For Fredo Sotelo, his first varsity snap right there. And now we're going to get an infraction. It looks like there was some movement perhaps up front as the umpire right there in the middle of the fray decided to call a procedure penalty against Salpointe Catholic. Let's give you the starters up front. And they got some guys that could prove to be a difference maker here in tonight's game. The left guard is Christopher Morales, 5'9", 230. The left tackle is Levi Peters, 6', 230. The center is Luis Ariano, 6', 293. The right guard is Latif Oliwulabodi at 6'1", 285 pounds. Back to the action and running with the football. That is the Lancers tailback.
That was Bettis Roberts. That was a great run there, a little draw play. Yeah, broke a tackle, got himself to north and south.
That is Elias Roberts, the ball carrier. They call him Bettis. He wears number 27. Showed you his scat-like ability on that particular sequence. 1st and 10 Lancers working left to right. They'll work from the 32-yard line of the Firebirds. Snap is back. Good pass to the outside and a big hit applied on the wide receiver. Nice job out of the secondary position by the Chaparral defensive player. In there wreaking some havoc. Weighing down the lick was Luke Franz.
Yep, great play there. Came up real aggressive, trying to run a quick little slant on the outside. And they broke that up very quickly and effectively.
Good pass there by Fredo Sotelo. Might have been just a little bit too high for the intended target. The wide receiver, I believe on that sequence, was Cordell Killingsworth. 2nd and 10 for the 32-yard line. Snap back to Sotelo. A little delay. They run it up the middle with some hesitation, finding some running room, spinning out of a tackle and taking the football out to the 40-yard line. Once again is the ball carrier, Bettis Roberts. And Bettis Roberts got the better of the interior of the line by the Chaparral Firebirds. How about that spinorama move there, Chris, to pick up the extra yardage?
He's got some very happy feet. He gets them moving, and he is tough to bring down, even in between the tackles there. He's a tough runner.
3rd and 2 from the 40-yard line. Possession play here in the backfield with Fredo Sotelo. Again, it's Elias Roberts wearing 27. Out of the pistol formation, 2 wide receivers to the near side. Hard count in effect, and the ball carrier got tripped up. Yes, it looked like Bettis was, he got tripped on his own quarterback, and now Bettis is asked out of the football game. So he has a little bit of a hitch in his giddy-up. Perhaps he tweaked something there, but clearly the trip over the backfield, Chris, was a problem.
Yeah, they were running an open power play. The guard pulled. I'm not sure if he hit the guard or the quarterback on the exchange, but he got his feet caught up before he even got to the line of scrimmage. That's tough.
That'll bring up a 4th down. So both teams will have their opening drives of the season stall. Back deep for the Chaparral Firebirds. Zachary House.
Got a short punt.
It'll be House off the high carry. House breaks the tackle at the 25. Bounces it to the outside to the 30. 35-yard line. He's going to be run out of bounds on the far sideline. Nice special teams tackle on the hunt by Salpointe's Mason Sanchez. One of their captains has made 2 plays tonight and he is flying to the football. Birds on their second drive of the 2022 campaign on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. Kevin Derryberry alongside Chris Andriatis. 6:34 to go, opening quarter. We are scoreless here in Scottsdale. One note for Chaparral, this is the 50th year of the program history here in Scottsdale. A program that started way back in 1972. And I do want to pay homage to one of our honorary captains tonight, Bradley Lewin. So Bradley Lewin, kudos to you, young man, and all the contributions you make for Chaparral football. Second drive of the night, and here comes Vanden Heuvel again, working out of the pistol, a little zone read this time. He took the football and he waited with it for a long time and then made his move, opted to call his own number, Chris, and once he decided to make a move, that crease that was there, it closed up in a hurry.
It's very tough to do on the edge, especially when you have rushing there on the outside. They're trying to run a read where they block the sweep and then run some sort of inside power play for the quarterback keep.
Jake Steinberg, one of those guys down there making things difficult, as well as Damian Coley, a couple of two-way guys, as the Lancers have 4 down linemen, and they got, you mentioned happy feet, they got a little bit happy right there. They got a little bit jumpy in this particular case, and I believe that the Firebirds are going to get a free 5 with the movement up front, so encroachment against the Lancers. For Salpointe Catholic, they're coached by Eric Rogers in his 3rd year. And for the Firebirds, they're led by their bench boss in his 5th campaign, Brent Barnes. Coach Barnes has quite a storied career. Pass outside, in and out of the hands of Plas Johnson. Plas Johnson played in that title game a year ago at Sun Devil Stadium when the Firebirds failed to pick up the victory. Chaparral was going for back-to-back state titles in that championship game a year ago, Chris.
Yeah, the quarterback was a little pressured there. They're bringing that blitz off the offensive left side. He had to throw it off his back foot and rushed it a little bit. Wasn't really able to put everything on it he needed to.
Miles Vanden Heuvel and the Chaparral Firebirds will face a 3rd down and 4 from their own 41-yard line. 5:47 to go, opening quarter. Lancers showing blitz off the edge with some action there as Jackson Green. Snap is back. Here comes the pressure from the pocket. It's Vanden Heuvel, and the ball is in and out of the hands of Plas Johnson. Johnson makes the catch, picked up 1st down yardage, and then dropped the football, and now there's a scrum for the Rock, and it appears as though that Chaparral has recovered the football. Gavin Mesa has picked that one up, Chris.
Yeah.
And how about the throw? Excuse me.
That was a great throw. Salpointe's bringing a lot of pressure. He's hanging in there and getting the ball out. And when there's a lot of blitzing, not many guys in the secondary, is a chance for a big play. He's able to catch and put his foot in the ground and get north-south and able to fall on the fumble.
Nice job there by Plas Johnson. That pass was thrown behind him just a little bit, but it was a catchable ball, and it was a catchable ball enough to move the chains. Here comes the blitz again. This will be Vanden Heuvel to run to the outside to the 40, 30-yard line, and he's going to get tackled inside the 30-yard line as he brought some punishment with it. Vanden Heuvel delivering a blow on that sequence. And
designed quarterback off tackle play. I think that this is a little chess match they're going to play. If they're going to blitz that outside linebacker, they're just going to run the quarterback out there in that vacated area.
That's the longest play of the night for Vanden Heuvel, a 16-yard run. That'll move the chains. The Birds on the march here. 1st and 10 from our 28-yard line of Salpointe Catholic. 3 wide receivers to the far side of the field. Vanden Heuvel, bubble screen to Johnson at the 30, 25, and then he's going to get bumped off the play. Nice pursuit to the football. A couple guys flying to the rock for Salpointe Catholic. One of those guys right there was Caden Myers. And also in the vicinity defensively was Damian Coley. CA, what'd you see there?
That looked to be a pre-snap RPO. They looked like they had numbers out on the wide side of the field, so he threw the bubble screen. They were running a counter play back away if he didn't like the look.
2nd and 4. They'll stack them up to the right side. Pistol formation again, the deep back for the Birds. And he tries the right side. Damian Coley got the carry.
You're thinking this might be 2 down here. I don't know. 3rd and medium. If you can get a decent gain on this next play here. 3rd and 3.
Double check that. For Chaparral, carrying the football, number 28, Parker Halverson. It's Halverson that is checked into the ball game. He remains behind Vandenheuvel. This is a 3rd down and we'll call it 3.
So we got man coverage here from Salpointe.
Snap is back. Vandenheuvel, pass outside, caught by the tight end. He makes a move, leaps from the defender to the 10, the 5, and he's going to score. Touchdown for Chaparral. On the receiving end of that one was Gavin Mesa from Miles Vandenheuvel. A 21-yard pass play, and the Firebirds are on the scoreboard. They strike first here in this contest.
Yeah, it looked like it was a little underneath route behind the line of scrimmage. They were in a blitz look. Nobody saw him until he was outside, and he made one guy miss. Nice little play for a touchdown.
How valuable is that? They make the first man miss. Nice keep there and a great play fake by Vandenheuvel as he dumped that ball out in the flat. And I'll tell you what, the move that Gavin Mesa put on, it shook Jackson Green to the next area code. I'll tell you what, that was impressive. On for the point after try is Keegan Shank.
Great man beater because that linebacker that has the tight end has to run across the formation as well. He gets caught in the wash. He walks in. Nice play call there by Chaparral.
It was indeed. Brent Barnes out of Norman, Oklahoma for much of his high school coaching career. So it's Shank on for the point after try out of a hold of Shea O'Brien. The snap is back. The hold is down. Here comes the pressure. The kick is on its way. It's up, and it is through. 3:19 to go in this opening quarter here at Scottsdale on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. Our new score, Chaparral 7, Salpointe Catholic 0. And on the second drive of the game, the Firebirds put it in for 6 points, CA.
Yeah, I'm looking for this next series to see Gavin Geweniger make his presence felt. Stanford bound. He's the top defensive lineman for the Firebirds, and he's a big boy as well. They're going to have to double team him to keep him contained tonight.
Shaptown, 7-time state champions, 99, 2000, 2001, 2009, 10, and 11. They got another one in 2020, an 8-time finalist. It is a tradition-rich program here at Scottsdale, Chris.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Charlie Regal, Ron Estabrook, Jim Bevel, the list goes on and on. Tom Stensick, so many great coaches here that have roamed the sidelines here at Scottsdale. And what a facility that they have here. The Players Clubhouse is state-of-the-art. Their playing facilities here, one of the first programs to ever have a turf facility that Chris pointed out before tonight's game. As the sun sets here in Scottsdale, it's 7-0 Chaparral on the inaugural game of the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. And here's Shank on again, back deep for Salpointe Catholic. One of the returners from his own goal line, angling to the far side, making a move and getting belted around the 14-yard line.
That Gage Felix
on the return. It was their wideout on the return team. It was indeed Gage Felix. Nice
Felix
special
on
teams.
Stopped on the play by number 31.
For Chaparral, getting it done on special teams. Justin Fisher right there to make a nice tackle and eliminate any further damage by Gage Felix. So back to work, second drive of the game for Eric Rogers, Salpointe Catholic Lancers. We talked to Coach Rogers before the game. He was a passionate man and really like the opportunity that he has coaching this team. He loves these kids, loves the idea of, you mentioned before, the seniors getting their chance to shine, and they've paid their dues. They have been in this program, some of them 4 years, and here they are. It's their chance to play on Friday night under the lights here in Scottsdale. 7-0 Birds. Kevin Derryberry alongside Chris Andriotis. It's Sotelo out of the pistol. He wants to go back to the ground game, and it'll be the tailback running with the football, Dalen Goodman. And for Goodman, a returning starter from a season ago for Goodman. One of those players, one of the few players that had any kind of yardage or activity or playing experience from a year ago. 65 totes, 487 yards, and 5 touchdowns for Goodman as a junior. So here he is in a featured role as a senior, as you hear the sweet sounds of the Firebird pep band here. And that is, when you hear the marching band, Chris, you know you're at a high school venue.
Oh, you gotta love it. Nothing better than Friday Night Lights.
Sotelo in an empty set, full wide receiver package, make it 5. Sotelo to the air. His pass is thrown over in the slot, in and out of the hands of Nate Spivey. right there on the hunt defensively for the Birds was Jason Montgomery, and it looked like Jason Montgomery was sizing up the wide receiver, in this case Nate Spivey. Had he completed that pass, Spivey had a chance to get blown up on that play.
Yeah, that was the motion to empty, little stick route there from the number 3 receiver. Just couldn't get his hands on it. It came out a little hot.
3rd down and 9 from the 24-yard line of the Chaparral Firebirds. They'll bunch it up. Sotelo has his tailback Goodman flanked to his left. 4-man rush. They dump it out to Felix. Felix makes a move. He gets to the 30, and that's it. He'll be well short of the line to gain. Nice defensive play for Chaparral. In there, Luke Franz, Jason Montgomery also in the vicinity. And nice defensive play there. A safe play call for Eric Rogers and the Lancers.
Yeah, normally your tailback swings a check down. Didn't like the look he had on his downfield routes. And he had a chance to make a play. He was only a yard short.
It'll be 4th and 2. Snap back. Back deep for the Firebirds is Zachary House. Punt to the far sideline. Takes a bounce around the 37-yard line and it caroms right out. So a pretty good punt angling to the far sideline. That was Carson Fiske. And the Firebirds will have their 3rd possession of the football game here at the minute 40 mark of our opening quarter. They have the 7-0 lead.
I imagine we'll see more Van and Hoovel out on the edge. It seemed to be effective for them in the last drive.
Chaparral graduated Brayton Silbor. He was a fantastic quarterback for the Birds the last 3 seasons. Over 2,000 yards in each of his campaigns. 30-plus touchdowns as a senior. It was a 24-10 victory for the Highland Hawks in last year's final that saw the Firebirds come up just a little bit short. Back to work here, a minute 40 to go, opening quarter. Once again, the Birds working right to left. They'll start this drive on the 35-yard line, dumping it out into the flat. With some room, making a move up the field with the football is Maximo Harris. And Harris put his foot in the ground around the 35-yard line and took the ball out to the 40-yard line. Nice little move, but those swing passes have provided some success here for Chaparral. In fact, they go right back to the play call that scored the touchdown.
Yes, put some stress on those edge players. They got to get broken down and get to the ball carrier quickly. They're going to have to do a lot of running if they keep attacking them this way.
Clock will stop with a minute 11 to go. 2nd and 5 from the 40. Snap back to Vandenvoel. Play fake. Watch him throw deep. He's got a wide open receiver, and there he is. That's Zachary House, and he couldn't come up with a football. Oh, my. That is a heartbreaker. As Al McCoy would say, that is Heartbreak Hotel. You had nobody in the neighborhood of Zachary House, and you think about the plays and the throws that you like to have back, that would go in that category, Chris.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, the safety bit on the play action, and he was all alone, like we used to say, dropped out of a helicopter.
Vanden Heuvel showing you a lot of athletic ability. Good play fake as he was able to draw in the defense, as Chris explained to you there, but the safety bit, and we'll try that one again, Chris.
I think we'll see that play again before this is over.
3 wide receivers now with a tight end, and now we're going to get a stop and play. 60 seconds remain on the Long Jeep scoreboard, and Brent Barnes didn't like what he saw, so he's going to take the timeout, and we'll take the timeout as well. You're watching high school football on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. We'll be right back.
Top of the list is Desert Orthopedic Center. If you take a look at that scoreboard, very top of it.
You go ask those guys if they have the officials. They might not have them. If they have the officials, you can get their officials card. Yeah, please. The card? Yeah. Or take a picture of it.
DesertOrthoCenter.com. Your broken bone, aches, and pain experts. Go Birds. Also, how about full beers and cheeseburgers? If your local neighborhood burger joint and proud supporter of the Firebirds, stop by for beer and sports. Go Birds. Also, Bell Lexus of North Scottsdale. When it's time to expand a luxury car,
He didn't get one?
to a luxury buying
That's lazy. How am I doing so far?
Visit longtime Firebird sponsor Bell
You'll have
Lexus
plenty of time to talk.
Scottsdale,
Just wait till I finish. So if there's a play going on, just kind of wait, because you're probably wondering.
The official chicken finger sponsor for Chaparral football. Who in the world has that? Only Chaparral does. Come visit them at 7386 East Shade Boulevard in Scottsdale. Thanks for all you do, long-standing supporter of the program. Download the new mobile ordering app.
No, just come. We're coming back. Don't forget the commercial.
Here we go, guys. We're back on. Here we go.
We welcome you back in Scottsdale on that Zone 48 Broadcast Network. Kevin Derryberry alongside Chris Andrianos. 7-0 Chaparral on the strength of a 21-yard touchdown pass from Miles Vandenheuvel to Gavin Mesa. Bomb, near sideline ball is batted down. They wanted Plax Johnson on the near sideline, and great secondary work by the Lancers. It was Cordell Killingsworth killing the play.
They were able to get pressure on him there, and he had to throw it off balance and threw it with a safety over the top. That's going to be a tough play for any receiver to make.
The punt for the Firebirds. Number 1, Felix back deep for the Lancers.
This is Jack Hunter in punt formation from his own 28-yard line. Gates Felix once again back deep for the Lancers. 7-0 Chaparral, 54 seconds to go in our opening stanza. The pictures in our technical producer is Mr. Greg Jones. Tell you what, from my replay monitor here, that is some outstanding high-definition feed right there. That's fantastic.
This is high-tech. This is better than anyone could ask for.
So we have a little pause in the action as they will penalize Chaparral.
Look like a delay of game.
Yeah, I'd say I agree with that. Yeah, delay of game. So that's going to push back Jack Hunter just a little bit further. So Hunter will now work and punt from his own 23-yard line as Felix will remain on the 15. So how about some respect for the leg of Jack Hunter? Boy, Felix is really deep. First punt was fantastic. This one a little bit shorter. Angles to the near sideline. Takes a hop and a very friendly Chaparral bounce as Gates Felix would go up and try to get close to the football. Chris, explain that one to me. You're a return guy. You see the football there. If you touch it, you nick it, and you don't recover, that's a live ball. Why is the receiver always trying to get close to the football?
I believe the rule is if the punt team touches it, it's a live ball, and he can pick it up without any kind of fear of a fumble or penalty. The ball will go back to that spot. Plus, I think he's just waiting to make sure they all come down and cover. But normally, if there's more than one hop, you tell your punt returner to get away from it.
So the Lancers, with 42 seconds on the game clock, begin their third drive of the night. Again, working left to right. They'll start this drive off on their own 15-yard line. Great ambiance here in Scottsdale as you've got the birdcage student body well representing, clad in black tonight are the student body here. They go to the ground game, and there's a big smash around the 15-yard line. Carrying the football at time was Jalen Willis Denard, and Denard got popped after a positive game.
Yeah, it looked like there was they condensed the hole at the point of attack, and there was really nowhere for him to go, and they had great pursuit by the Firebirds there.
In fact, I always love it when Mark Carroll, the PA announcer, says that was a tackle by a flock of Firebirds. That means that there were multiple guys there who we didn't get a jersey number on the lead tackle. Our first quarter is in the books. Our score here in Scottsdale, Chaparral 7 and the Lancers from Salpointe Catholic High School 0. We'll take a break. Second quarter action coming up next right here on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. We welcome you back inside the broadcast booth. Kevin Derryberry alongside Chris Andrianos as the Firebirds get a 21-yard touchdown reception from Miles Vandenheuvel to Gavin Mesa. Point after try good. And we're ready to begin our second quarter now. Working right to left are the Lancers from Salpointe Catholic, playing in that championship game a year ago. And the Lancers start this first drive of the second quarter on a pass from Fredo Sotelo to Gates Felix.
Yeah, Felix, a good player out in space. They're able to get him the football, and he just goes to work, making guys miss. Great pickup there. Gets him out of the backed up area of the field.
Gain of 12, Sotelo to Gates Felix. First and 10, Lancers from the Lancer, we'll call it 26-yard line. Birds showing blitz. Here they come. Sotelo dumps it off out the flat, down the sideline, working with the football,
nice
hurling
play.
defenders. is the Lancers' Nate Spivey, showing you a ton of athleticism right there. The blitz was on. It looked like they had 9 guys in the box, all going towards Sotelo. Great play call again as he dumps it out over the flat, and then the tailback doing some work, putting on the hurdle show.
Great play call there to have a screen dialed up when the blitz is coming. Chaparral showing a strike blitz, 2 guys off the edge, and they're able to get it to the back, and he made a play for him.
Sotelo to Nate Spivey, again a 21st and 10. Lancers from the 48-yard line. Penalty markers fly. The referee had indication of the penalty as well. It'll be a false start against Salpointe Catholic, so that'll push it back 5 yards. Much to this point, Chris, it's been a relatively penalty-free football game, and for an opening game to have less than 5 flags in the first a quarter and some change, that's a pretty good sign.
It is, considering there's a lot of new faces out there, so they're doing a good job.
So many new faces in different places. 11 minutes to go, second quarter action. 7-0 Birds. Ground game again, breaking through that line of scrimmage and running hard downhill was Jalen Willis-Denard. And he got through that line of scrimmage, got to the second level, and then ran into the linebacker, Mr. Luke Franz, and that was quite a collision, as you can see right here on the replay.
It's a nice answer to the strike blitz, just run it up inside. There's not enough blockers to take everybody on the edge, so just go inside of them. It's a nice play call there by Salpointe. Just couldn't make the guy miss in the hole.
Fantastic form tackle there by Franz, too. You talk about wrapping up low. He did a nice job there to end the pursuit. So it'll be 2nd and 11 after the penalty yardage was marked out. That's a 4-yard play. 2nd and 11 from the 47-yard line. Sotelo back to the air. Back to Spivey. Spivey makes a man miss, and there he goes into the second level. Takes it to the 40-yard line into Firebird territory. And how about Nate Spivey showing you his athletic ability once again with the hops, leaving his feet. Goes into hurdle mode again, but it was that sidestep and that put his foot in the ground and then picked up the extra yardage. That was a fantastic play.
That was some fancy footwork. Great job getting north-south, not dancing too much. It was a great play.
Gain of 13, enough to move the chains for Salpointe Catholic. Sotelo to the air again. Pass is outside. He wanted Felix. He tried to lead him, but just a little bit too much as Gates Felix turns around and looks back towards his quarterback and says, hey, you got to get that ball into my hands, back towards the shoulder. But had he completed that pass, it looked like Felix had some real estate to work with.
Yeah, he had a blocker out there. Those bubble screens are tough because every receiver runs them a little bit different. So that's why it's so important for the quarterbacks to work with those individual receivers and get a feel for how each guy runs it.
Look at Luis Ariano down there, Chris. 6 foot, 273 pounds. He is a specimen.
Yeah, they got some big boys down there.
2 wide receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Sotelo has his tailback join him again. Sotelo to the air, pass complete near sideline, making the catch and using the footwork around the sideline was Cordell Killingsworth. So Killingsworth, one of those players that plays on both sides of the football for Eric Rogers.
Got some respect for his speed there, giving him quite a cushion. That's why they're able to hit the comeback underneath. Nice tackle by the corner, though, number 29.
Jack Gromes was over there defensively. And like you say, it was a nice tackle right there. We've seen some really good technique here in this first quarter and some change. 9:16 to go to halftime. Birds lead it. They jump, no call. It's Sotelo on a play fake. Instead, he's going to give it up, and that'll be a first down carry for the tailback. Running for the Lancers was Bettis Roberts once again. Take that back. It was Caden Myers this time. In fact, we saw Elias Bettis asked out of the game in that first drive. And I don't know that we've seen him back in since that point, so we'll continue to keep an eye on him. But the tailback flank to the right now of Sotelo is Elias Roberts. In the slot to the right is Gates Felix. In a 4 wide receiver package, snap back to Sotelo, looking left, going for the deep ball, and he wanted Killingsworth, but Killingsworth broke his route off, and it looked like Sotelo was throwing the football into triple coverage, Chris.
May have been a miscommunication there. Usually, if the quarterback should be thrown in the vicinity where he's going to break, there may have been a snafu there on the call.
So the clock will stop at the 8:45 mark of our second quarter. Lancers with the football. This is the 8th play of the drive. Again, Sotelo using that hard count, and this time he gets the Birds to bite. And this will be in, it'll look like Rich Pineda is our line judge out there. And it's going to be offsides on Chaparral. So Sotelo using that hard count. He tried to use it the last time the Birds didn't jump. He used it again on the very next play. And this time they do jump for 5. So the Lancers will take advantage of that. It'll be a 2nd down and 5. Ball is placed on the 25-yard line of Scottsdale Chaparral. There's Gage Felix with that yellow left shoe. Lines up in the slot to the near side, and next to him is Cordell Killingsworth. Snap back. They run it on a flea flicker to Sotelo. Deep ball ends at one. Spivey, and he's just overthrown. Spivey ran his route all the way through the back of the end zone. And how about a little razzle-dazzle, Chris Andriatis?
That was some razzle-dazzle. The guard actually pulled and did a pirouette in the backfield and folded back to make the block. That was, I was wondering where the ball was. That was a great play fake right there.
That's something that we've seen Sotelo do a nice job of. This is the first start of his varsity career for Salpointe Catholic. That's 18 Fredo Sotelo. He's working with a young group. His tight end is Damian Coley. He's out there in the slot to the right and on the far sideline for
pressure look here from Chaparral.
Abel Alarcon at wide receiver. One-on-one coverage. Sotelo can go that way. They run it to Gage on the jet sweep. Gage turns the corner, gets hit at the 20, still on his feet, and he'll fall forward towards the, we'll call it the 16-yard line. And once again, with some nice misdirection, the Lancers used that jet sweep to their speed man and Gage Felix, and he gets the first down, Chris. Nice blocking on the edge.
Great blocking, great call there, man-to-man. And that motion guy, again, has got to run with him across the formation. Had some blockers out in front of him, some hard running. It's a nice play there.
Abel Alarcon, 87 out there, a big body, doing a nice job wreaking havoc and doing an excellent job blocking. 7:57 to go till halftime. Sotelo again out of a pistol. Birds showing blitz. Here they come. It's a nice job, and they hand it off underneath. And the running blitz was on, and they were there to meet the ball carrier. You talk about some of the play calling, Chris, on both sides. It's been pretty impressive here for the first game. Getting the call on that carry for Salpointe was Caden Myers. So Myers is the ball carrier on this particular drive. Again, we have not seen the last Bettis Roberts since that first drive.
No, we have not. Yeah, that's tough sledding when you have more guys than you can block. He just did the best of it, tried to fall forward, got a yard.
Gotta love the call of that blitz. Sotelo back, looks right, throws off balance to the far pylon, and the ball is incomplete.
Yeah, you're getting man coverage there. I think he was just throwing it to the back pylon, seeing if his guy could go get under it. It's a safe throw away from anybody over the top. They're going to have to do something different here, though. It's 3rd and long.
Abel Alarcon, again, the target in the end zone. 3rd down and 8 from the 16-yard line. The red zone opportunity here for Salpointe Catholic. It's their first trip inside the red zone here this evening. In a 7-0 ball game. Temperatures over 100 degrees at kickoff tonight. It is a balmy, balmy evening in Scottsdale as the pep band starts to stage their way for their performance here at halftime. And with 7:08 to go till halftime, we will have a short timeout. We'll pay a bill or two, and we'll come back right after the short break. You're watching Friday Night Football on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. Here we go, out of a timeout. Lancers with a football. They set up a screen to Killingsworth in a backfield, and here comes the Chaparral secondary, and they're going to be there to swarm the football.
Fumble on the play.
Ball got jarred loose, Chris.
It's a great play by Chaparral. Number 4, Keegan Shank, coming up with the ball.
How about Shank? Serves as a punter. Number 4 down there doing the dirty work. And that was a strip of Cordell Killingsworth. And Chris, in all the years of coaching football, that is exactly how you do it. It's textbook football. You stand them up and you keep them there until somebody else can provide the help. Yep. And they get guys coming in there flying to the football. And now they teach to punch the football.
Absolutely.
Guys coming in there with fists flying, and that ball got jarred loose. Great pursuit to the ball and a great stop there on a possession play by the Firebird defense, and they get the takeaway. 7 minutes to go to halftime. It's still 7-0. To the air, to the outside. It's past Johnson. Makes the catch at the 25-yard line. Nice ball there by Vandenheuvel. And Chris, as things kind of move on here, as we all warm up here, no pun intended, you see the Firebird confidence starting to grow a little bit here at home tonight.
That was a big stop there. You know, Salpointe put together a nice drive up to that point, and to come away with no points is a heartbreaker for them. So Chaparral seems to have some momentum here. Let's see if they can move the football across the 50.
And we're going to have a new quarterback here as well. So Vanden Heuvel started the game, but they go back to, this is Hergis now. And Hergis is going to get this particular series for Brent Barnes. Hergis wears number 9. That's Bryce Hergis. If you are a baseball fan and know anything about the game of baseball from a history point of view, Bryce's dad, his name is Matt, was a one-time pitcher in the big leagues. He pitched for the Los Angeles Dodgers at one point, and I believe he was a one-time pitching coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks too here in the Valley. So Hergis wears number 9. He gets his first completion of the season went to Plas Johnson. He starts the drive. 3rd and 1 on the 27-yard line as the Lancers show blitz. Now they back out. Firebirds patient at the line. 7 seconds on the play clock. Hergis ready to go. 2 seconds on the play clock. It's a ground game. And on the ground game,
it's going to be close.
That was Logan Owings running the football. And as Chris pointed out, it will be close. They'll probably, the line judge is Rich Pineda, and I think he just indicated it's a first down.
That was a great job using the check with me call there. They went with a freeze count. Salpointe showed their blitz, and they were able to get into the right play, pick up the first down.
Second effort there by the tailback. Parker Halverson is flanked to the right of Hergis. Hergis to the air again. Back to Plas Johnson. Makes the catch. They run that same route again, a little bit of a slant route. He makes the catch around we'll call it the 35, and picked up about 3 yards after the catch. But you're looking for timing of the football. That was a good delivery of the ball. Right on point, right on time by Mr. Hergis.
Yeah, normally you'd like to see him try to put the ball on the outside shoulder. But it leaned in on him a little bit. He was able to make the play, come up with the catch there.
Inside 5 to play till halftime, working left and right. The Scottsdale Chaparral Firebirds, we'd like to welcome in our audience here tonight on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network via the Chaparral Firebird YouTube channel. As Miles Vanden Heuvel now gets the rock.
Design quarterback run there. Normally, a lot of teams in that area of the field on 2nd and short will take a shot downfield. I think Shap would like nothing more than to drive down the field as time expires, put one in, and go in up 14-0.
Gavin Mesa has checked into the ball game. First down and 10 from their own 42-yard line. Chaparral has one wide receiver to the top of your screen with single coverage. Nate Spivey is playing the edge defensively for the Lancers. Play fake. Deep ball down the middle of the field. He's got a receiver there, and the ball is in and out of the hands, and then it's picked off. It's intercepted by Mason Sanchez. Back the other way to the 30. Cut across to the 40. Looking for blockers to the 45-yard line. He's finally tripped up and brought down around the 47-yard line. Plas Johnson, perhaps a big-time stop there in the open field. The wide receiver, Plas Johnson. Take a look at the replay again.
Tipped off his shoulder pad, rolled behind him. He looked like he had a step on him. It was just a little bit underthrown. That's a great heads-up play there.
Plas Johnson with perhaps, I want to say, a touchdown-saving tackle, because if Mason Sanchez can get to the edge, he had an awful lot of real estate to work with, Chris. What a play by Plas Johnson, and really a fantastic play by Mason Sanchez. Ball was intended for Cody Judge. In fact, Chris, you tell us what you saw there. I thought Cody Judge was open initially. Ball was slightly underthrown by Hergis, and that allowed the deflection to occur, and then it's a tip drill.
Yeah, he had a step. It was a big post route across the middle. Just hit his shoulder pad. He couldn't get his turn around to catch it. I think this is a big drive here for Salpointe. 3 minutes left. I think they'd like to get some points on the board here before the half.
First turnover of the game, a takeaway for Salpointe Catholic. Of course, the Birds already have one on that fumble recovery just before this drive began for Chaparral. So both teams have a takeaway. One a fumble recovery by Chaparral and the interception by Mason Sanchez. And as Chris just pointed out, with 3:53 to go for head coach Eric Rogers and the Lancers, you want to get some points on this drive.
Absolutely. You dodged the bullet there. You got an interception. You got the ball at midfield. If you have a special play you circled this week, this would be the time to call it.
The Maroon and Gold played for 5A supremacy last season, only to fall 38-28 to the Horizon Huskies in the championship game at Sun Devil Stadium at Tempe. And here they are again with another very talented football team. As you said, these guys just reload. Yes. These guys don't rebuild, they reload. Ground game again for Salpointe, using the middle of the field this time. It was Caden Myers just running downhill off the right side, working behind the right tackle. In this particular case, that was Jay Potty, 6 foot 260, pretty good guy to run behind.
Yeah, they're getting a too high look, so they're thinking they have a numbers advantage in the box. They're going to run the football a little bit.
Gain of 6 first, make it 2nd and 4 from the 46-yard line. Back to Myers. Start in, bounce it out to the 40, picks up the first down, and then yards after that. So nice running there and good blocking on the edge on that left side by Salpointe. This time it was the left tackle getting things done.
It was a fold block, and the guard was able to pull around and seal the edge just enough for the back to get through. It's a nice job there. Salpointe, they got some big boys, but they are nimble up front.
The left tackle, Levi Peters, 6 foot 230. But I will say this, the Firebirds are clearly swarming to the football. Great team defense, great attitude, and what we anticipated to be a very well-played first half between two really, really power organizations.
Absolutely.
So Tello to the ground game, to Myers, breaking the tackle, down the side at 30.
Oh, he's going to hold there.
20, 15, 10, 5, that's going to be a touchdown. Lancers are in the box. Caden Myers, a 38-yard gallop to the house for 6. Penalty marker thrown on the field. Back to where the play began. The head lineman's pointing back towards the Lancers, and the Birds believe this one's coming back. And that's going to be a shame because that would negate a 38-yard touchdown run by Caden Myers. And again, great blocking, Chris Andrew.
It was great block. Unfortunately, he got his hands caught outside the framework of the chest there, and out in space like that, they're going to call that every time. It's unfortunate. It was a great play.
Outside the framework of the chest. You're not going to pick up that anywhere else but my guy, CA. All right, so they'll push him back, and that would have been a game-changing touchdown. That would have tied the game up perhaps. 2:34 to go. Still 7-0 Birds. Sotelo using that hard count again, a long count. 13 seconds on the play clock. In a full wide receiver package, he's got Gage Felix with single coverage to the near side. Spivey is in the slot to the right, and the deep back is Caden Myers. And now we're going to get a timeout. I believe that Eric Rogers.
Timeout.
Nope. Chaparral took the timeout, so Brent Barnes has taken the timeout, and we'll take the timeout as well. 2:34 to the break. You're watching Friday Night Lights on a special edition of Thursday Night Football on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. We join you in progress here. 2:34 to go. Sotelo to the air. Deep ball near sideline. Wants Felix, and the ball is overthrown.
It's a great job getting the ball out. That would have been a sack if he had held it any longer, and he just put it in a place where only his guy could get it. I've been impressed so far with the offensive line play on both sides.
Yes.
These defenses are dialing up a ton of pressure, and they've withheld for the most part.
Sotelo intended to get that ball in the hands of Gage Felix. Providing the coverage for the Birds was Max Springfield, a 20 tackle season a year ago. Does have varsity experience. One of the very few returning starters here for Brent Barnes defensively. 2nd and 5 from the 34-yard line. And running it left and running it right into that stout defense of the defender for Chaparral. That was 40 making the tackle, and of course, first week challenges. Jalen Coulter will get it, but it wasn't on the roster, but we'll use Mark Carroll's word.
So let's show that bam.
So it'll be 3rd and 3 when play resumes. Clock moving at 2 minutes to go.
I would imagine this is a 2-down scenario here, a little bit far out of kicking range. Try to get something here to get it manageable to first down, and then take a shot here even.
Sotelo works out of the pistol. Sotelo to the air. He's got Felix. And Felix slips out of a tackle, and he's going to pick up some extra yardage, and he's going to move the chains. Second effort there by Gage Felix. Picks up the first down on a chain-moving throw and catch from Sotelo to Gage Felix.
Yeah, that was a great call there, great throw, put in a perfect spot, and then, where clock management's an issue, he just runs out of bounds, stops the clock.
Gain of 10, 1st and 10. Salpointe Catholic from the Chaparral 22. 1:41 to go, 7-0 Birds. Sotelo out of the pistol. Myers is the deep back in a 4 wide receiver package, and we get penalty markers once again. Movement up front here for the lineman up front. Chris Andriatis has just spoke so very highly of this offensive line for Salpointe, and then they throw one in the blender right there.
It's tough when you got linebackers bouncing in front of you. You don't know who's doing what. You got to make your calls in a second. Everybody's got to be on the same page. It's tough, especially if you're a new offensive group. So it's going to happen, especially week one.
So they'll move it back 5, 1st and 15 from the 27-yard line. Again, 4 wide receiver package. Spivey in the slot to the left. It's Myers flank to the left of Sotelo. Snap is back. Looking left. Now he's going to scan the field. Run right. Wants to throw. He does, and he'll throw it to the far boundary. And that's a nice job of keeping himself in bounds. Good footwork there on the boundary for the Lancers. Cordell Killingsworth makes the catch. That's the 3rd time tonight he's been targeted. His 2nd catch of the ball game. In fact, make it his 3rd. He fumbled the last time he caught the football. So a nice throw there by Sotelo to keep that ball away from the defender, throw it outside, and use that boundary as some protection.
Yep.
And they'll pick up about 5 yards. The ball is placed on the 26-yard line. Sotelo, play fake, goes back out to Killingsworth, and this time he can't hold on to the pass. That one was too hot to handle as Fredo Sotelo dialed up a little velo on that one. He had some strong velocity on that throw. You could see it spin, and that was a nice ball.
I think it had some smoke coming off it, absolutely.
A little sizzle on that one. $1:29 to go here in Scottsdale, home of the Firebirds. Good crowd on hand here on really what is just a sultry evening. The perspiration is quite.
Strike blitz here, look from Chaparral.
4 wide receivers for Sotelo. Takes the snap back. Here comes the pressure. Off balance throw for the back pylon. The ball is a jump ball, and it's caught for the touchdown.
There was some hand fighting going on there. I think somebody's going to get called for it. I'm not sure who.
Nate Spivey on the receiving end of that one. It's a 22-yard scoring strike from Fredo Sotelo to Nate Spivey. And you talk about high pointing the ball. They beat the cornerback. That was Jack Groms. And really, that's just, I want the ball more than you. I don't see the infraction there, unless they're going to call it on Nate Spivey. But, Chris, that looked like a clean play.
It looked good to me. Like I said, they were doing some grappling, but I couldn't tell from our angle whether anyone was egregious enough to call a penalty.
So Fredo Sotelo, his first varsity touchdown pass goes for 22 yards. He throws it off his back foot towards the back corner pylon, and Nate Spivey outworked everybody, high points the football, and grabs that one for 6 points. And the Lancers are a point away from tying this football game up with $1:22 to go in the first half.
I think they were looking at the corner there, didn't have his head turned around and had a hand up. So they're going to call that most times.
Carson Fiskey's kick is up, and it is through. Good hold there by Owen Brock. 1:22 to go till halftime here in Scottsdale. Our new score, the Firebirds 7 and the Lancers 7. You're watching Friday Night Football on a special edition of Thursday Night Football on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. Hey, let's be honest. If you're not having a good time, what are we doing?
Exactly.
All right, it's Fiskey after the penalty. High end over end, deep kick. It'll just blast this one out of the east end zone here at Scottsdale Chaparral. 7-7 tie. Touchdown to Gavin Mesa from 21 yards away from Miles Vandenheuvel. Point after try was good by Keegan Shank. And for Salpointe Catholic, it was Fredo Sotelo, a 22-yard scoring pass to Nate Spivey. Point after try by Freaksky was good. And that's where we are right here at halftime. We extend the invite to stay with us.
Interesting to see here what Chaparral's motivation is here. They're going to try to go into 2 minute, or are they going to run out the clock and take the points as it is?
Vanderhoof on the keeper. Forced out of bounds by 11. Sanchez.
All kinds of activity up here in the press box. Special thank you to Chaparral Firebird football booster Steve Bollinger, doing a great job over here, as well as their athletic director, Mr. Jack, taking care of us here. KDB along with Chris Andriatis. 1:22 to go. The clock did not move on that last play, so it'll be the Birds back to work. Vandenheuvel gets the, no, it'll be back to Hergis. So number 9 back there, the signal caller, the right-handed quarterback. Bryce Hergis, his first varsity experience here tonight. Pass complete to Plas Johnson.
They don't seem to be in a hurry here. They're huddling up.
Nope.
I think they want to see if they can get this first down. Maybe they'll make a go of it after that.
Green with the tackle. One of the captains tonight for the Lancers. 55 seconds to go till the break. They run it up the middle and trying to break through some tackles, and getting free is the ball carrier for Chaparral. Running free that time was Maximo Harris. Longest run of the night for Chaparral as Maximo has to ask out after that collision.
Play just results in a Firebird first down.
Yeah, he just kind of squeaked through there. Now they're in no huddle.
Gain of 20 for Maximo Harris. He got max output that time. Snap back to Hergis. Deep ball near sideline. He's got Plas Johnson wide open. Ball's going to be dropped at the 10-yard line. Plas Johnson had to secure the football, and all he would have done was just waltz right into the end zone, and he drops the rock, and he drops 6 points. Oh, wow. That is another heartbreaker, CA.
That was a well-placed pass, too. You couldn't have thrown it any better than that.
Definitely had a foot or two on the secondary, as you see here in the replay. Look at this throw. Hergis throws a nice ball. Good work from the pocket. Clean pocket at that. And then here's Johnson with about 3 steps on the defender, and he had absolutely torched Jackson Green. So a play that's left on the field again for Brent Barnes' football team. 31 seconds to go. They work from the 49-yard line of Salpointe, and this is where we will get a halt in play as the Lancers and head coach Eric Rogers want to discuss things. And Chris, you kind of pointed out, it looked like the Firebirds were content to go into the break with a 7-7 tie until they get that nice run by Maximo Harris, and Maximo with a 20-yard run. As you see again, Plas Johnson dropping that football.
Yeah, I think it's a good timeout usage here by Salpointe. Want to make sure that they don't let anybody get behind them. Watch for any kind of razzle-dazzle plays. This would be an opportunity to do that. So just make sure everybody's got their head on straight for this final 30 seconds.
Next week, the Zone 48 broadcast network will be on the road at Central High School as the Brophy Prep Broncos will play host to the St. Mary's Knights on a battle of Thursday Night Football right here on the Zone 48 broadcasting network. You think about Brophy and St. Mary's, Chris, it doesn't really get better than that historically when you talk about rivalries in the great State 48 over, let's say, the last 45, 50 years.
Yeah, they've played, and I believe they've played every year in that time span. A lot of alums feel very strongly about that game.
Hergis back at the position. Here comes the pressure, and he's going to get hit. And who's going to provide that pressure on the outside? A guy that we highlighted before this game started, 95, Elijah Rushing in there, wreaking havoc. And he was able to get in there and put a pop on Bryce Hergis. And you could see that 95, that it clearly affected the play, CA.
It's a strong outside arm. He just bull rushed him back and was able to get his hands on the quarterback. And like I said, his arms are long. If he gets his arm extended on you, you're in trouble.
Clock stops with 26 seconds to go in a 7-7 tie. Working from the 49-yard line of the Lancers is Bryce Hergis. Snap back. Dumped out in the flat. Making the catch and moving up the field is Parker Halverson. And he gets absolutely demolished around the 42-yard line with a big-time stick out of the secondary. Looked like it was Malik Akinbile.
Anytime you see a guy hit his head like that on the turf, you get very nervous. But he just popped right over, got up and walked away.
Check that. Let's go to John Martin providing the stick right there.
Also, NYPD, they've been providing meals to our team unit and the item
Thank you.
number for New York style AZ pizza, it's got to be NYPD pizza.
This is an interesting call here. It's 4th and 1. You have no timeouts left. So do you take an end zone shot here? Do you try to get 2 plays called in the huddle, get the first, and then get a quick play right after? Interesting to see what Chaparral does here.
You know, they got the line to give the quarterback some time. For my money, I'm going back to Vandenheuvel here to kind of take the snap, roll out, buy him some time perhaps with 17 seconds to go. Maybe he can scamper 15, 20 yards and put him in field goal position. But I like that dual option here if they have it. But they're going to go with Bryce Hergis. And if you want to use the strength of Hergis, I'd take a shot. Why not?
You can always look at a short throw on the sideline, too. He just catches the fall out of bounds. That'll accomplish the same thing.
4th and 2 from the 41-yard line.
Yep, there's your hitch.
And the ball is caught by the same man that caught the touchdown pass, Gavin Mesa.
So realistically, they have maybe 2 to 3 plays here with 12 seconds to go and about 30 yards to go.
The name Gavin, very popular here at Scottsdale Chaparral. Gavin Hickey, one of the leading receivers in the state a year ago on that state championship runner-up team, was named Gavin. 12 seconds ago after the first down play was Hergis to Mesa. 1st and 10 for the 32-yard line. Hergis to the outside. He wanted Gavin Mesa once again. This time the pass sails out of bounds. Good pressure up front by Salpointe Catholic. Providing the pressure over the middle was Damian Coley, a two-way player. You see 2-8 out there with his hands to his waist, as you figure maybe attrition will start to come into play a little bit. And perhaps this could be, I would say with 8 seconds to go, Chris, do you have a chance for 2 plays here, or is it, you think it's
so.
just one? Okay.
They seem to be throwing into the sideline here. If you catch a quick one, fall out of bounds. At worst, you set up for a field goal, take a lead into the half.
Keegan Shank would be their place kicker, as Plas Johnson will give way. Checking in is Drew Chiarazzo. So Chiarazzo will replace Plas Johnson on this play. 7-7 tie, 8 seconds to go. Ball is on the 32-yard line of Salpointe. Hergis gets a snap back, looks right, steps in the pocket, delivers a strike, and the ball is caught at the 20-yard line. Same target again. Gavin Mesa makes the catch at the 20-yard line. That's a 12-yard gain, and time will expire here in this first half, unless one of the coaches took a timeout before the Longines scoreboard ran off and ran out of time.
I don't think either of them had any left.
The white hat official saying there are 2 seconds to go. So for Chaparral, do you try a field goal here for Coach Barnes?
Well, you got to spike it. You got to spike it, and I think you'd probably take the field goal here and try to get the points.
So the Lancer contingency here, not in agreement with this particular sequence. It'll be Hergis to take the snap, and he's going to clock it right away, and he does that. And now, once again, the Longines scoreboard runs off the time, and now they're going to say
halftime.
Well, the white hat official did indicate that it is halftime. So it took 2 seconds. Well, I'm not sure what happened there. Some interesting clock management here toward the end of half number 1. I think the Firebirds at least left the field goal opportunity on the field in this particular play.
That's tough. You know, they blow the whistle in, clock starts. He's got to snap the ball, and I'm sure they had some sort of cadence. Again, first game of the year, new operations.
Yes.
You're gonna have goofs like that.
There will be some gaffes and some challenges, to say the least. We have reached halftime here in Scottsdale. It's 7-7. They put up 15 minutes up on the Longines scoreboard. We welcome the pride of Chaparral. The marching band will take center stage here at the break. We'll pay some bills, and when we come back, more halftime here as the Chaparral Firebirds and the Salpointe Catholic Lancers play to a 7-7 tie through the first 30. You're watching a special edition of Thursday Night Football on Friday Night Lights on the Zone 48 Broadcasting Network. We welcome you back to the home of the Firebirds here in Scottsdale, Arizona on the Zone 48 Broadcasting Network. I'm Kevin Derryberry alongside Chris Andriatis. a special edition of Thursday Night Football on Friday Night Lights tonight. First half highlights, how about it? Well, it was the Chaparral quarterback, Miles Vandenheuvel, finding Gavin Mesa from 21 yards out as he found Mesa in the flat. He made a man miss, then took it into the end zone. Nice catch and run. Vandenheuvel to Mesa. That started the scoring. And then Salpointe Catholic started to get some momentum at the end of halftime. And it was Fredo Sotelo, the starting quarterback, picking up his first varsity touchdown pass to Nate Spivey, and a beautiful ball thrown to Spivey in the back corner pylon, and Spivey just outleaped the defender. And here we go, 7-7 tie. They put up 12 minutes up on the Longines scoreboard, and we're ready to go. And back deep, it's going to be Gage Felix, angles to the 15 to the 20. Splits the defense, trying to get outside to the 25, close to the 30-yard line. And that's where the special teams of the Firebirds will take out Gage Felix.
Number 21, Luke Franz.
Felix is a dynamic returner. He's shifty. He's able to get himself going north-south.
Starts this possession first.
See if they can get something going here on offense.
Luke Franz with a special teams tackle on Gage Felix. Unofficially a 25-yard return for Gage Felix.
Hey, I'm supposed to let you know that
Fredo Sotelo, who threw 3 varsity passes in his junior season,
America's source for high school sports,
picks up his first varsity touchdown toss here tonight. Back at the position with 3 wide receivers, 2 to the wide side of the field. So Sotelo gives it up. It's a run play, and breaking the tackle and then getting popped in the backfield and continuing to stay on his feet is the tailback for Salpointe, and that's the young man that started the game, and he's back in. That's Elias Bettis Roberts. Chris, you'll have to explain this one to me. Bettis never got dropped to the turf. Perhaps he was in the grass, but
I think his knee touched the ground when he spun that last time.
That would make good sense. Good eyes on that sequence.
But, yeah, that was shaping up to be pretty interesting there because I think he only had one guy left to beat.
Well, that was a TFL. Love to see that one again. But the Birds pick up an 8-yard tackle for a loss on Elias Roberts, and that's how half number 2 begins. There goes Roberts in motion. Sotelo a play fake. They dump it out in the flat to Roberts at the 20. Makes a defender, almost misses him, but he's going to grab him and hold on for dear life, bringing him to the turf. For the Birds, it looked like Jason Montgomery with the tackle.
Chaparral's doing a great job of pursuing to the edge. It's usually a great way to get the ball to your playmaker in space, throw him a little swing route, and Chaparral's all over it.
So it'll be a 3rd down and a country mile. We'll call it 3rd and 16. A ball will be spotted at the 25-yard line of Salpointe Catholic. And one slot position to the right of Sotelo is Damian Coley, the tight end.
Some kind of audible here.
Alarcon is the wide receiver to the near side. Montgomery will shadow him across. Penalty marker from the back judge. It'll be delay of game as the play clock has hit 0 for Eric Rogers Lancers from Salpointe Catholic High School.
Yeah, Bettis had come up and was audibling something to the offensive line. They just couldn't get the snap off in time.
Eric Rogers in his 3rd year, 18-4. He's undefeated in region play out of the 5A conference for a program founded in 1950. Sotelo fades back. He throws, and the ball is in and out of the hands of the Firebirds secondary. That's Luke Retke had a chance on it. Retke had a chance to pick that one off.
Almost had his hands on it.
Instead, it'll be an incomplete pass from Sotelo. Good pressure applied by the Firebirds coming from the outside edge. One of the guys playing some pressure was Gavin Geweniger, who had 39 tackles a year ago, 6.5 sacks. Geweniger, wearing number 5, 9 tackles for a loss last year, has committed to Stanford in the last week and a half. So you talk about a scholar baller for Gavin Geweniger. And hustling onto the field here in special teams is Trey Fortuin. Back deep in punt formation for the Lancers is Carson Fisk. He'll stand at his own 5-yard line. Good snap. Here comes the rush. Good leg as Fisk puts this one high in the air. And it will sail out of bounds just as it passes into Firebird territory. Let's see where they spot the football. Looks like they're going to mark it out at the 49-yard line. So for Brent Barnes and his Firebirds in a 7-7 tie, their first possession of the second half, they're going to have excellent field position, and they'll begin this drive right at midfield, CA.
Yeah, it looks like cut the field in half there. Great defensive stop there. Salpointe was going backward pretty much the entire possession. So let's see if they can get something going offensively.
So it'll be Miles Vandenheuvel, the two-way athlete, baseball player. He'll start the second half over Bryce Hergis. I'm sure we'll see Hergis as we move on. This will be a zone read for Vandenheuvel as he makes guys miss, break it to the outside and step inside, leave the ball on the turf, but he's going to be down. But I love the deception for Miles Vandenheuvel. And Chris, when you see the zone read work to perfect execution, there's that timing mechanism from the quarterback to the tailback. And great execution of the play fake. Who had the football? It was Vandenheuvel, and Vandenheuvel was able to exploit the middle of that defense and pick up big yardage.
Yeah, they were doing a read on 95 rushing, and he was able to get inside of him. He actually got a hand on him, but he ran through that arm tackle. He was in the secondary before you knew it.
Gavin Mesa has checked in one slot position to the right. Also in the slot to the right is Zachary House. Plas Johnson will line up on the numbers at the 40-yard line. Near side receiver is Cody Judge. Vandenheuvel play fake, throws over the middle of the field, the ball is caught, and he's going to race in and score his second touchdown of the night. That's Gavin Mesa. And on the right slot, 38-yard scoring pass from Miles Vandenheuvel to Gavin Mesa.
It was a great catch and throw there, right over the middle.
You like Vandenheuvel with his ball deception, great play fake, and just throw a strike right over the middle of the field. Great route, and then nothing but daylight for Gavin Mesa as he gets into the box for the second time here tonight.
Yeah, once they got the free safety committed over too far over to the hash, he just ran underneath it, got behind the linebacker. Great throw, great catch.
So it took the Firebirds 3 drives to score their first touchdown of the night, and it takes them 1 drive to score their first score here in the second half. Chris, we talk about it an awful lot, but halftime adjustments are oh so critical in the outcome of high school football.
Absolutely. Especially in the first game, you're not sure what you're going to get from your guys until they've been in a live situation. And the adjustments you make at halftime are crucial. And it looks like they whatever they drew up on the board is working so far.
Point after try up next. Here comes Keegan Shank, 9:21 remaining. Clock is stopped. And before we can try the point after try, Rich Pineda will get his flag back. He'll tuck it away appropriately. And they will move the Firebirds back after the false start. So more alignment challenges as far as the movement. And Chris has pointed out some first game jitters up front, special teams. Only their second time on the field here this season. Shank is the place kicker. Out of a Shea O'Brien hold. Snap is back. The hold is good. The kick is on its way, and the kick is right down Gold Dust Avenue. 9:21 to go. It's 14-7 Chaparral. The 7-time state champions have the lead. And when you think about the success of Salpointe Catholic, 2013 Division II state champions, they were runner-ups in 08 and 09 in the 4A conference. And they were also a runner-up in 1991, 1981, and most recently, just last year, as we already mentioned. The Lancers went undefeated in the 5A Southern region last season at 4-0. And this season, the AIA granted the request for Salpointe Catholic High School to move up from the 5A conference to the land of the Giants right here in the 6A conference. How big of an adjustment do you think that is for a program to go from the 5A to the 6A?
I think it is a little bit of adjustment, just maybe not in one particular game, but week to week. The saying, you have a gun to your head every week. There's no easy outs. So that's the grind of it, I think, is more of a challenge than any particular opponent.
Sure. So on here to kick for the Birds, this is Jack Hunter. Back deep for the Lancers, Gage Felix on one side, and on the other, it is Cordell Killingsworth. Here comes Hunter from his own 25, the southpaw kicker, high, deep end over end to Felix from his own 17. Veers to the 20, 25, big hole up the middle to the 35, out to the 40-yard line, and making a nice special teams tackle there for the Firebirds was Hawk Plunkett.
Shap coverage team's doing a great job of containing Felix so far. It looks like he's getting very close to breaking one, but they've been sure tackling so far and able to corral him.
How about that name right there, Hawk Plunkett? How about it? That is a legitimate football name.
Absolutely.
9:15 to go in this third quarter. It's 14-7. It's been Gavin Mesa has hauled in 2 touchdown receptions from Miles Vandenheuvel. And that is the scoring here for Chaparral. And here comes Fredo Sotelo back on the field again, trying to get back in this football game. Only down by a touchdown on the point after try.
Gotta love the chess match here. Looking over the sideline, counting up numbers in the box.
3 down linemen. It looks like a 3-5-3 here. Sotelo play fake, gets it out to Green. Green to the 40, slips the tackle to the 45, down to the 50, down the sideline, and he's going to be run out of bounds inside Firebird territory. They'll knock him out around the, we'll call it the 44-yard line. But one thing that Sotelo did, he got rid of the football. He got it to Green in space, and he got it to where he could make a play with it right out front. Nice delivery of the football.
Straight speed. He had no blockers there. It was just a foot race, and he almost turned the corner on him there.
Unofficially a gain of 15 yards, 1st and 10. Salpointe working left to right. Another play fake. Instead, it's going to be a handoff up the middle. Sotelo does a nice job. Both quarterbacks are very deceptive, and that's something that I've seen over the years. You see so many quarterback coaches and quarterbacks working on their game in the offseason. Just the fact that you have to be deceptive in how you want to hand the ball off. All of those things, those nuances, make successful plays.
I think a lot of that is the advent of the RPO.
Sure.
You know, what looks like a play fake, he could be reading a second-level defender, and they have to respect whether he's going to carry it or whether he's going to throw it or whether he's going to hand it off.
So Roberts with a 4-yard run. 2nd and 6 from the Firebird 40-yard line. 4 wide receivers now for Sotelo. Looking to the near boundary. Throws to the near boundary. The ball is going to be caught, and working up the sideline was Abel Alarcon.
Big hit by Springfield there on the sideline.
That was a vicious pop on the defender. Nice job by 2-9 putting a stick. Correction, that was 1-6 getting it done. That was Max Springfield, and you talk about a little spring as he leapt his feet and took on the ball carrier. That was, again, 87. Abel Alarcon. He could say it with that Latin accent. Roll the R's for me, CA. Sotelo empty set.
Alarcon.
Throws to the outside, nearly intercepted. Great hand work there.
That's the second time Sotelo's left it inside, and the last one was almost intercepted as well.
Dominic Espinoza to defend Gage Felix. Great work as he left his feet, extended his hands, and got a fingernail on that one to defend the play. And as Chris eloquently pointed out, Sotelo left that ball inside, and that left it open for a chance to pick it off. 2nd down and 10 for the Birds, 32-yard line. They'll have 4 down linemen. Showing blitz at the outside is 2's Keenan Bond. They run it to the outside, it's Betts. And he says that he got his face mask in there. Once again, it's Springfield on the tackle, taking him out to the boundary. But it's Elias Roberts, the ball carrier. It's good to see him back in this football game, Chris.
It is. But this the Chaparral defense looks a lot different than they did in the first half. They're flying around, they're tackling, they're breaking on passes. They seem to be a lot more aggressive. Maybe got their first half jitters out and they're ready to rock and roll.
14-7 ball game. Chaparral has the lead. 7:18 to go in the third quarter. Sotelo getting the play from the sidelines.
Counting numbers.
The deep back for Fredo Sotelo remains Elias Bettis Roberts. A 4 wide receiver package to the near side. He's got Killingsworth. It's Spivey in the slot to the right. They run a delay, and Bettis spins out of a tackle. He's going to be close to the first down. I think he's got it.
You talk about a full head of steam. He was going full speed by the time he hit the line of scrimmage there. That was a nice play.
Downhill, the left guard And that left side, it was Christopher Morales and Levi Peters paving the way. Nice job there, and then really doing a great job running low to the ground and blowing it up. He needed 9, he got 10. First and 10, Salpointe Catholic on the 21-yard line. They run it back to Betts, and Bettis is going to get hit around the 18 and carry his body inside the 15-yard line. So Salpointe Catholic in the red zone for just the second time tonight. They only have 7 points on the scoreboard. They did turn it over once as they approached the red zone. So a nice job there of mixing up the play calls here with a nice run-pass mix.
Seemed to have found something with the inside run. Now if you notice, Shap has a heavy box. We'll see.
They go to Bettis, and it's Roberts feeling for those linemen, and he'll finally feel his way to the boundary. And it didn't look like much initially, but you have to love Elias Roberts. His feel for the game, working behind that line, showing some patience, and he finally was able to get some extra yards there as he got to the outside.
Yeah, great patience there. Let his blocker get out in front of him, put his hand on him, and got a couple extra.
Gain of 6. Dominic Espinoza with the tackle there for the Birds. From the 15-yard line, Sotelo again looks left. He's got Green in the slot to the left.
Changing the formation here, a little shift. Trips into the boundary.
Jackson Green now moves over to the right side. He's got one wide receiver to the left. It's Gates Felix. Single coverage for him. Sotelo in the pistol. It's Bettis behind him, and now we're going to get another delay of game. Nope, check that. Eric Rogers bailed him out. Nice work there by Coach Rogers to recognize with 1 second to go, I've got to save the 5 yards. He'll take the timeout. We were talking about some of the success of the Lancers. Tonight's game between the Lancers and Chaparral is the 4th meeting amongst these two programs. And I say programs, let's be honest, these are two storied programs, Chris.
Absolutely.
No question about that. The Lancers lead the series 2-1 after having defeated the Firebirds back in 2012 and again in 2013. What is significant about the Salpointe win over Chaparral in 2013? It came in the state championship game. It was a 46-20 rout by the Lancers. So these two teams have been doing battle for a long time, and that's why they're what we refer to as storied programs.
I remember watching that game. It was impressive. If I remember correctly, Salpointe had 2 big-time receivers that went off that day.
They have quite a history of alums, including Bijan Robinson, who I believe is going to be the 2022 NC2AA Football Heisman Trophy winner at the University of Texas. And we'll talk about Bijan a little bit more here. 1st and 10 from the 10. So it's 1st and goal to go for Fredo Sotelo. Play fake. Wanted to go left. He will go left, and the ball is overthrown. He wanted Gates Felix. A penalty marker came in. The ball was thrown towards the goal line. Providing the coverage for the Firebirds was Jack Gromes. And let's see what the penalty is. You can only speculate, CA, it might be pass interference, but let's see what the call is.
You could tell they were trying to isolate Felix out there. They didn't have any other receiver within 20 yards of him. Trying to work one-on-one, see if he can get open. And I guess they're calling pass interference.
If you watch Justin Jefferson and Jerry Judy and Jamar Chase, maybe not so much Judy, but these guys are exceptional route runners.
Oh.
And this ability to show the slant inside, stop on a dime, pivot, and then go out, that is the move. That's what I thought that they were going to try to do with Felix. Set them up inside like you talked about, and then cut that thing outside.
I see it right here. It could be a slant return right now.
So Tello up the middle of the Bettis, and there's nothing doing. He's a quick hitter. So after the penalty was assessed to the Chaparral Firebirds on pass interference, it gave the Lancers a 1st and goal to go from the 6. And they go to Elijah Roberts here.
It's an impressive answer here from Salpointe.
It really is.
Let's see if they can punch it in.
I see Plas Johnson catching some passes here on the near sideline for the Chaparral Firebirds, preparing for offense. 5:24 to go in a swift-moving 3rd quarter. This is the 2nd possession of the half for Sotelo. And he's going to dump it out, and it's going to be caught for a touchdown. Making the reception for the Lancers was Caden Myers. And for Sotelo, his 2nd touchdown pass of the night. This one comes at the 5:13 mark of the 3rd quarter, and we are a point after try away from the Lancers of tying up this football game.
Great play out of the backfield. There's no outside help because that corner was manned up with Felix. So he put it right in the window there. Great throw, great call.
You had mentioned earlier about the zone read and how it's kind of changed the way that teams play football, how they set up their offenses. And ultimately it's going to change the way they play defense. Here comes the snap, and the snap is down. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Great pressure on the outside from the edges by the Birds, but the kick is true. 5:13 to go in this third quarter. Our new score, Salpointe Catholic 14, Chaparral 14. And to finish my point, the backs now are so gifted at catching the football all across the game. It used to be if you had a running back that could catch the passes, boy, he was special. Now every back, every fullback, every tight end, everybody has that hands team. They're all part of that, and this game has changed for the better over the years.
The offenses, sure, and the defenses have to keep up, and what their answer is to give exotic looks blitz-wise, try to play the chess game with the numbers count and then change it after they made their call.
You know the best thing about
it's great to watch,
well,
but the backs are certainly more skilled now than they ever have been before.
Extra long crinkle-cut fries. Then there's our crisp coleslaw and Texas toast.
5:13 to go on this one. Chris, it's been a lot of fun here. We've been treated to a really well-played game. I want to go back to Salpointe for a second. You can believe it or not, but we talked about the Firebirds. This is their 50-year history. For Salpointe, 70 years they've been playing tackle football. They've made the postseason in 35 of those years. That is remarkable. It's unheralded, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, they have quite a
special thank you to Joey Mascaro, our sideline photographer, our cinematographer out there, doing a fantastic job bringing you the pictures here this evening, as well as Kat Jones getting it done. And here come the Birds on the return, and right through the middle of the field and staying on his feet out across the 40-yard line. That is Chaparral's Plas Johnson returning that kick. Unofficially a 38-yard return for Plas Johnson. And once again, Brent Barnes and his football team set up with excellent field position. Their last drive they started it at the 49-yard line. I think it went 2 plays for 51 yards and a scoring pass, the second of the game, to Gavin Mason out of the hands of Miles Vanden Heuvel.
We'll see if they can answer here.
Vanden Heuvel will go to work from his own 42-yard line. It's a 14-14 tie on the Zone 48 broadcast network.
Coming up to the press box.
4 wide receivers now for Vanden Heuvel. Quick pass to Plas Johnson. It's too low. And streaking down the middle of the field in the seam was Casey Waldeck. But that time, I think Vanden Heuvel, one of the few mistakes for him, he just kind of rushed the pass.
They had a blitzer come free there. I think he was just trying to throw out of the sack. But yeah, he's lucky he got that off. That guy was in his grill really quickly.
Throw out of the sack. Help us out on that one, CA.
Basically, instead of just eating it, if he feels he can get rid of it.
I got you. Throwing out. You're trying to get rid of it instead of get sacked. I got you. I thought you were giving us a new, really legitimate, cool term. And I'm like, I just learned something right there. Okay, I got you. Low snap for Vanden Heuvel. Another play fake. Rolls to the right. Jump pass to the outside. It's Johnson again. Makes a man miss at the 50-yard line. And he'll pick up extra yardage. Holy smoke. The juju was in effect for Plas Johnson. You talk about some footwork. Oh, my. He just shook the defender out of his shoes and picked up the extra yardage. In fact, that extra yardage was enough to move the chains. How about that footwork?
That was very great move. Not trying to cut all the way back, but you beat one guy and then get north-south. That was very effective there.
Gain of 9. Vanden Heuvel to Plas Johnson. 1st and 10 to the Lancer 48-yard line. Vanden Heuvel with a snap. He's going to carry it himself. Break a tackle and then get slammed to the turf after a 2-yard gain. They'll spot the football around the 46-yard line. So forward progress will give Vanden Heuvel some positive yards there.
Congratulations.
Usually the rule when you tell a quarterback on a read play that if you get tackled with the ball, you did it wrong.
That's how it goes. 2nd and 10. It should be 2nd and 9 after the 1-yard gain. Vanden Heuvel will send his tailback to the near side. Here comes the pressure. And the ball is going to be dropped by Plas Johnson.
They went back to that. It was the play they had a success with in the first half on a long 2nd and long play. Try to hit the shallow route underneath.
For Salpointe, applying the pressure. That was 3-8 applying the pressure, and it is week number 1. We do not have a 38 on the roster. We apologize for that. I've got 2 rosters here to double check everything. Still no 38, but he was the one that applied the pressure on that blitz, and Vandenheuvel was just forced to throw the football a little bit too low to Plas Johnson. Otherwise, that could have been a game-changing type play. 14-14 tie. 3:53 to go in this third quarter. Clock is stopped. Working right to left is Brent Barnes. Will take the timeout with 0 seconds on the play clock. And we've kind of alluded to this a time or two before, but in this first game, with a lot of new players, a lot of new varsity players, guys getting their first taste of action under the lights here tonight. So you kind of think there might be a few mistakes.
Yeah, and there have.
Welcome back to Scottsdale Chaparral on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. Kevin Derryberry alongside Chris Andriatis. Next week it'll be the Broncos from Brophy Preparatory and head coach Jason Jewell, the region coach of the year a year ago, to take on the St. Mary's Knights and head coach Lucero. Always a tradition-rich battle right there, going back to the days. Brophy and St. Mary's on Thursday Night Football on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network next week. But here we've got an exciting conclusion, we hope. Still plenty of action to go in this one. 14-14 tie. It's been really a very well-played game. Even despite the opening night jitters and challenges, it's been a very well-played game, and it is extremely well-coached, Chris, no doubt.
Absolutely.
All right, Birds on the march. 3rd down and 9 from the 46-yard line. Here comes the new quarterback in, and his pass to the right side is going to be broken up. Bryce Hergis was in for that play.
Hergis pass intended for Johnson, broken up.
I think he did a great job of standing in there and delivering the ball. He had pressure in his face. He stood firm and got the throw off on target.
I was trying to discern who the target was. I thought at one point it was Gavin Mesa.
It looked like the tight end, yeah.
But at the same token, I heard him mention Johnson as the individual who didn't.
Looks like they're going for it here.
So on 4th down and 9 for the 46-yard line, it appears as though that they're going to roll the dice, or he could punt it from there as well. And now Eric Rogers is forced to take his second timeout of the half. So that is going to be interesting to see what develops there. And as you watch Elijah Rushing just walk off the field for a second, he is a big-time body. We mentioned 6'6", 245 pounds. And again, you just look at him over the huddle. He is the biggest guy out there. It's a Division I Saturday body, Chris.
Absolutely.
And a body like that continues to work, develop, learn,
He's only a junior.
Study. You have a chance to play in the league.
Absolutely.
Speaking of playing in the league, Bijan Robinson, one of those guys. I think about Bijan and what he has done.
Give us the numbers.
7,036 yards on 527 totes.
My goodness.
103 touchdowns for Bijan Robinson. He is an elite football player, player of the year here in Arizona without a doubt. Gatorade player of the year, all those accolades. So it's Bryce Hergis back to work, and this time they're going to do what I thought they were, and it was going to punt it. And this time it's Miles Vandenheuvel to punt it, and it was a good punt, and the Birds had a chance to really pin back the Lancers on special teams. Unable to get there was Zachary House.
Yeah, that was a nice kick there.
So a little gadgetry work there, but again, we talk about the versatility of these student athletes in today's game. It's different from when you lined them up, huh, Chris?
Way different. Way different.
My broadcast partner tonight, a one-time Hokie, played his collegiate days in Virginia Tech. And I always get it confused, but you played with the younger Vic, right? It was Marcus Vic.
No, Michael came in the semester after I was done.
Okay.
But I played with his cousin, who was an offensive lineman.
Okay. I knew you had some ties with the Vics.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Vick, of course, one of the most exciting players that we ever saw play on Saturday and Sunday.
For sure.
All right, so Birds give it up. It'll be the Lancers with the football. For Salpointe Catholic, a chance to take the lead with points on this drive. And they run it to Gates Felix on that jet sweep, and he tried to break a second tackle and break it back towards the inside and working on the numbers, and he was just flattened right there.
That's a tough block for your wideout. He's got to hold that for 3 or 4 seconds, and to do that without getting a holding call is a challenge. So I thought they did a decent job of getting a body on him. You know, it just took too long to develop.
Jack Gromes with the tackle for Scottsdale Chaparral. Gain of 1 for Felix. We go back to the end of the first half when the Firebirds couldn't score, Chris, and you kind of just look back at that for a moment as we have a tie ball game, and you wonder what that will represent as we move on. Broken play for Sotelo. There was nobody home on the give, and he'll scramble for a yard or 2. He'll pick up just that. So it'll be 3rd down, and we'll call it 7 from the 23-yard line of the Lancers.
I get the sense that whatever defense is going to make a big play might get the advantage in this game. The offenses are being a little bit conservative, having trouble getting anything going. So we'll see if one of the defenses can step up big.
Everybody dealing with the attrition, everybody having to deal with these balmy conditions here. The heat is for everybody, no doubt about it, broadcasters included. 3rd and 7 for the 23-yard line. It's Sotelo out of the pistol. He sends Roberts in motion. He gets it to Roberts, and the ball is going to be incomplete. And that might have been a business decision there for Elias Roberts, because on the hunt was the secondary player, and I believe, and I'll have to be double checked here, that was Max Springfield, and you don't want Max Springfield coming anywhere near you if you're open like that. That would have been a disaster had he caught that football.
That was a tough play. There's like you said, a business decision there. If he catches that, not going to be pretty.
2:10 to go in this third quarter. We remain locked up in a 14-14 tie. It'll be Fisk in punt formation, and this kid's got a great leg. Back deep is Zachary House on his own 40. Here comes the pressure, and another pretty good punt. House will make the fair catch sign at the 45-yard line, and if you've ever played tackle football and you played under the lights, looking up into that dark sky, and all you can do is pick up some LED reflections, and then you find that football in that dark sky, and you make a play like that, that was a spectacular catch in an adverse condition.
Something I've never had to do, luckily.
I can agree with you on that one. 2:03 to go, 14-14 tie.
We're coming close to the 4th quarter.
One other point about the Lancers. I mentioned that their 35-year or their 70-year history, they made the postseason in 35 of those years. They have been in the second season in the last 6 consecutive years, so 6 straight playoff seasons. Here's Vandenheuvel on the zone read. He'll take it to the line of scrimmage, and that's it.
Looked like the timing was off there a little bit. The mesh took longer than I think they wanted to, and it seemed like there was a little bit of a jailbreak on the backside. The defensive lineman was all over that.
Stopped by a host of Lancers.
A host of Lancers means we don't know who made the tackle, and one of those guys in the middle there was Noah Banny, number 99. And you can see him in the middle of your screen standing right over the emblazoned logo here at midfield. But he is a, yes, sir, he is.
He's a host all by himself.
Yes, he is. He is what they call a run stuffer. He's one of those guys that can clog it up. 2nd and 10 from the 45-yard line for the Birds. Hard count used. This is Hurgis, play fake, wants to throw. Throws to the near boundary, and the ball is caught by Plas Johnson. What a tremendous catch by Plas Johnson. Great throw there by Hurgis.
The play fake sold it there. The linebacker that blitzed actually tackled the running back without the ball and bought time for Hurgis to get that throw off.
A gain of 25 yards from Hurgis to Plas Johnson. Largest pass play of the night for Chaparral, and they're in business here with a 1st and 10 on the 30-yard line. With a little mojo. This is Bryce Hurgis at quarterback. Flank to his right is the tailback. Hurgis to the air. Ball is caught by House. House makes a move to the inside. He dipped right and then cut it inside of the hash marks. And then he was stopped after a modest gain. We'll call it a 4-yard gain. And one of the other nuances or changes, if you will, and it's a great change, you can see all the digital sideline down markers. They're all digital now. We saw those last night at Centerville Stadium in Tempe as the Devils rolled up NAU 40-3 in Herm Edwards' first game in his 5th year. So 38 seconds to go in a 14-14 tie. To the left of Hurgis is Parker Halverson. Snap back. Pass thrown to the outside, caught at the 20, and taking it inside the red zone.
We had a great blitz pickup there by the running back from Chaparral. The outside linebacker came, and he was able to run him out and buy time for the quarterback to get off that throw.
Gavin Mesa makes the reception once again, and now there's a Lancer down on the field. And that is Nate Spivey, who's banged up, and that is not a good situation for Salpointe Catholic High School. With the injury timeout, we'll take a timeout as well. You're watching a special edition of Thursday Night Football on Friday Night Lights on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. Nine seconds to go. This could be the final play of the third quarter. Herges back to throw. He dumps it off to Halverson. Halverson to 20, and he's going to be wrapped up and taken down to the turf. Great defensive tackle there by Connor Reitzman. That's the final play of this third quarter. We move to the fourth and final stanza here in Scottsdale. Chaparral 14, Salpointe Catholic 14. You're watching
The visiting Salpointe Lancers 14.
Friday Night Lights on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the fourth quarter here on the Zone 48 Broadcasting Network. Chaparral in the red zone. 2nd and 9 on the 17-yard line. It's Herges at cornerback. Herges going to throw it out, drop it off to the tight end once again. In this case, it's Gavin Mesa out of the slot position. Mesa with his 5th catch of the ball game.
He's Johnny on the spot, isn't he?
A little over 75 yards for Mesa, unofficially. Gonzalez with the tackle.
Leaves the Firebirds with a 3rd and 3.
So Chaparral with the ball spotted on the 12-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down and a short 3 for the Birds. House in the slot to the left. Halverson is the tailback. They bring in the quarterback, Miles Vanden Heuvel. He's got 2 touchdown passes tonight. And they run it up the middle, and the Lancers are right there to run stuff. They get Halverson, no deception at all, with the stick, which Connor Reitzman. He ended the third quarter with a nice play, and he's here in the early going of the fourth quarter, wreaking havoc again. Opening minute has gone by, still in this 14-14 tie. What does Brent Barnes want to do on 4th down and 3? And it looks as though, Chris, he's going to go for 3.
I think so, yeah. In this kind of game,
you need points.
Yes, you don't want to walk away empty-handed here.
It will be, the ball will be spotted on the near hash. It'll be a 30-yard field goal attempt for Keegan Shank. Out of a Shea O'Brien hole, the kick is on its way, and the kick is good. He snuck it inside the left upright. At the 10:27 mark of this fourth quarter, Chaparral forges ahead on the free try by Keegan Shank.
What a game.
And our new score with 10:27 to go is 17-14 after the 35-yard field goal attempt by Keegan Shank. Good leg on that.
Yeah. That puts some pressure on Salpointe now to have to answer this. 10:27 to go. They're running out of time, so they're going to have to put something together here.
You know, I was talking about the success for Seton in their playoff journey. Chaparral played in the 6A Desert Valley region last year. They went 3-2 in the region. For Chaparral, they've made the postseason in 25 straight years.
That's impressive.
That is very, very impressive. 25 consecutive years they've had a chance at the flag.
A number of different head coaches, too.
In fact, in the last decade of play, Chaparral has gone 78-40 with 4 different head coaches. Brent Barnes is coach here tonight. Thomas Lewis, Conrad Hamilton, and Dave Huffine. We haven't even talked about Charlie Regal and Ron Estabrook. Oh, maybe we might have mentioned them. All right, here we go, back to live action on the return for the Lancers. Good return by the Lancers special team group. Typically, it's been Gates Felix getting that work.
Charlie Regal's the head coach of Idaho State now.
Yes, he is. 10:20 to go in the fourth quarter. Salpointe with the football on their own 28-yard line. And if you're Coach Rogers, what are you thinking here?
I think
still plenty of time.
Yeah, I don't think you need to rush anything. I think you need to go back to what was working for you earlier. The inside run, the short, quick hitch routes on the outside. You don't have to get it all at once. You got plenty of time.
Balanced play calling, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we saw that early. They had success. All right, Sotelo, again, back at the position. Fredo Sotelo, where's number 18, works out of the pistol in a full wide receiver package. And yeah, they're going to get movement on the right side. The slot receiver kind of ducked for a second. Damian Coley is going to get nailed for a procedure penalty. But a lot of times you see the old Dallas Cowboy linemen kind of start up, they come back down and reset. He kind of wanted to reset. It wasn't that embellished for Coley, but he was the culprit on that scenario.
Usually you tell those spaced out wide receivers they got to look in at the ball. Forget the snap count.
Alarcon to the near side with single covers. Snap back to Sotelo, and they run it right up the middle with a big hole. And there he goes. He's off to the races, and he'll be taking it across the 40 out to the 45, 50-yard line with another impressive run. That was just a straight-ahead downhill run as CA just called for that. What a run by 3-2, getting it done. Again, it is Jalen Willis-Denard.
Oh, that's a different guy, yeah. He runs very low. I could tell he was his pad level was excellent coming through the line of scrimmage there.
Unofficially a 30-yard run, the largest and longest of the night for Willis-Denard. Once again, the Lancers on the march in Chaparral territory. There appears to be some confusion up front. Sotelo's pass is batted down the line of scrimmage. Getting his mitts on it was Gavin Geweniger, and he was there to stop that play.
Sometimes that's by design. They call that a radar defense, where they all move around and just keeps the offensive line from making a call and getting cohesive on that.
Do they often reference that to some sort of a stemming type action
yes,
as well?
It's similar to a stem, but basically they're just standing up and they're not going to be where they are when the ball is snapped.
I was a big fan of that. I saw you guys do that a few years back at Red Mountain High School.
Oh, yeah.
You implemented some stemming stuff, and it proved to be successful at certain times. It's all about the timing of that. 2nd and 10 for the 48-yard line. There goes screen in motion, a play fake from Sotelo. Here comes the pressure. Sotelo evades the pressure. He throws the ball, and the ball is, it might have been intercepted. We're waiting for the call. And they're going to say, no, he didn't catch it.
We'll look on the replay here.
Nick Dorflin was applying the pressure on the outside for the Firebirds, and you can see on the replay here, it was a great effort there.
Coach had a challenge flag. I'm sure he'd be throwing it.
Yeah, you got that right. Max Springfield was the guy over there sliding and trying to pick that ball off. 9:43 to go in this fourth quarter in a 3-point ball game.
More radar D here.
Sotelo, again, will be delivered at the line of scrimmage.
Ideal in a passing situation.
He's got Gage Felix with single coverage at the outside at the top. That's where I'm going with the football. Sotelo takes the snap, looks right, wants to go to Felix. He does, deep ball. Down the sideline, and the ball is incomplete. There was some pushing and some hand-to-hand combat during that route, but no call.
Might have gotten away with a little bit of a grab there. But I don't know if he ran a route well enough to be able to get open on that. I think they may have just gotten tangled up a bit.
Could very well be, as we see that on the replay there. You saw the impeding action there by the secondary of the defender. And instead, Sotelo just misfires on the pass play. But from our vantage point here, we nailed it. We knew where the ball was going. 3-point game with 9:37 remaining. It's Fisk back in punt formation here. The Lancers have to give up the rock. Fisk deep. He wants House, and the ball takes a high carom. And there on the special teams action was John Martin. So he'll touch it down. They'll spot it around the 14-yard line, and that's where Brent Barnes' football team will get the football back with a 3-point lead here. And I turn it back to you, Coach. What do? You got the lead, and you got the football. You want 6 points on this drive if you can get it.
Absolutely, you want to score here, but more importantly, you want to use up as much clock as you can while moving the chains. Ideally, it would be a 12-play scoring drive.
Coach Brent Barnes, the 12th head coach in the 50-year history of the Chaparral Firebirds. Open Division Elite team a couple years ago. 6'8" state champions back just a year ago. To the air, and the ball is caught by Plas Johnson. Trying to get to the outside, he does, and he's bumped off the play there by Armani Sheriff. And how about the Sheriff out there controlling things, if you will?
We've seen a number of swing passes tonight from both sides. Seems to be the answer for inside pressure. Just get the ball to somebody with a running start out on the edge.
Vanden Heuvel to Plas Johnson for 7 yards. 2nd and 3 from the 21-yard line. Again, another zone read. And this Vanden Heuvel, he decides to keep it this time. And he's going to run into a swarm of defenders led by Elijah Rushing. He was there. Nate Spivey was also there in the vicinity. And a third defender, I believe, in the mix down there was Jake Steinberg. So you had a trio of white shirts there to suffocate Miles Vanden Heuvel.
Salpointe's done a really good job tonight of containing stuff between the tackles.
Well, the clock is freezing up. It's 8:50 to go. Possession play here for Vanden Heuvel. Deep ball down the sideline. The ball is caught by Plas Johnson at the 45-yard line of the Lancers.
Looked like the free safety had a play on that and just misjudged the angle. But great catch, big play there. That's a backbreaker for Salpointe.
Miles Vanden Heuvel to Plas Johnson for 40 yards. That's a 1st and 10 for Chaparral. And on one play, they are in Lancer territory with a 3-point lead with 8:35 to go in this football game. What a catch by Plas Johnson. He's beaten that secondary a couple times, Chris. That time the throw was on the money.
Yeah, and it was more impressive because Elijah Rushing had broken free on the edge, and the quarterback stood in there and delivered a great throw.
I can't imagine how bright the future is going to be for Elijah Rushing. Boy, he is fun to watch. Plas Johnson on the wide receiver screen. He breaks into the free, and he angles towards the 25-yard line. But a nice pitch and catch there, speed to the edge, and Plas Johnson took that speed and took it into daylight with another big-time play.
Kevin, you mentioned attrition earlier. Salpointe has a number of two-way players, and the game, I think, still might be starting to take a toll a little bit on those guys. They seem to be a little bit gassed right now.
It could very well. Miles Vanden Heuvel to Plas Johnson, 2 catches for 65 yards. Check that, make it 55 yards. 2 catches for 55 yards on this drive alone. 7:50 to go, 3-point game. And the snap is botched, but Vanden Heuvel will pick it up, and he's going to be grabbed to the turf. It looked as though there was a horse collar applied. That will be a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty. The guy nearest the quarterback, Vanden Heuvel, was Damian Coley. And let's see what the flag's all about. CA, what did you see on that play?
He definitely got jersey. I'm not sure if he got his fingers in there on the shoulder pad. Hard to see from our angle. But it looks like they are going to call a horse collar there.
And I do finally get a good look at the official. That's Mike Lang, our referee tonight, the white hat official. Mike Lang is a tremendous human being. I know that from firsthand experience. Works for the Phoenix Suns, works for the AIA. Mike Lang down there. That's his crew. Good crew. His brother's probably on that group as well. And I mentioned Rich Pineda. All right, after the penalty yardage is marked off, it was a good call. 15-yarder. Ball will be placed on the 11-yard line. In the red zone are the Birds once again. Knocking on the door. Inside 7:30 to go. They run another zone read to Vanden Heuvel. This time he's going to keep it. And there's nothing doing this time. Nate Spivey all over that play. Chris, have you noticed that as they run to those plays, Vanden Heuvel, he was making all the right reads early in this football game. In the second half, the Lancer defense has really stiffened.
It's a feel thing also, especially with the defenders. Once they're able to jab step and kind of fake out the read for the quarterback, they can kind of combat that. Give him a cloudy read.
Brent Barnes' team being a little bit delivered here with that lead. 14 seconds on the play clock. Vanden Heuvel to the air. Ball's caught by Johnson. Leaps over a defender and takes the ball inside the 10-yard line. He leaped right over Gage Felix, who's playing in the secondary in this second half.
Johnson's been quite the catalyst tonight.
He really has. He's had himself a fine ball game. That's his 3rd catch on this drive. 58 yards on 3 receptions on this drive for Plas Johnson.
This is a crucial play here for Salpointe. If they can hold them to a field goal here,
big.
They have a chance. If they go down 2 scores, I don't know if they're going to have enough time to get back in this.
3rd and 7. they can get a first down at the 2-yard line, and now we get more action up front. And it looks as though that Miles Vandenheuvel and his cadence at the line of scrimmage was just enough to get the Lancers to guess wrong. And now that's going to cost them 5. And this will be a first and, well, let's see. Nope, the penalty will only move them up 5. The ball will be spotted on the 4-yard line.
So it's a 3rd and 3 now.
Yeah, third in a short distance for sure. Ball is on the 4-yard line. So they're going to call it 3rd and 3. Now they say the ball's in the 5, but it's not. It's inside the 5.
Looks like a heavy set here. It's like a fullback in the game.
Keenan Bond is the tailback. It's Vandenheuvel. Breaks the tackle. Lunges in. Loses the football. And it looks like the Chaparral Firebirds are in a scrum with the Lancers. And let's see who comes away with a rock. And the Lancers say they got the football. Well, let's see what the officials say.
What a turn of events right there. Chaparral went with a quarterback ISO play with the tailback leading through.
Let's look at it again here, Chris. He dropped the football. No one knocked out. Miles
lodged it out.
Just lost the rock. And Rushing was down there in the mix trying to fight for the ball. We look at it again here. It looked like Vandenheuvel just, well, perhaps Spivey jarred it loose. Coming up with the rock was Damian Coley. And what's interesting about that, Coley had just committed the 5-yard encroachment penalty on the play previous. So he gets redemption. Sweet redemption at that. Still a 3-point ball game. 5:39 to go.
95 yards away.
I was just getting ready to say, Fredo Sotelo has to go 95 yards to either try to tie it or punch it in here with 5:39 to go. 8 seconds on the play clock here for Eric Rogers, quarterback Fredo Sotelo. He stands at the 1-yard line, takes the snap. They run it up the middle and fighting for yardage.
Just trying to get some breathing room there.
Smart call. They're going back to the starting tailback. That's Bettis Roberts. He's had himself a pretty solid evening. He has got the lion's share of the carries this evening. As you hear the sweet sounds of the Chaparral Firebird pep band here in the stands. What a game here this Friday night. Glad you could be part of it. We're having a blast.
Oh yeah, they don't appear to be any kind of hurry here. Looks like they want to make sure they get themselves in the right call. Personnel change.
Well, the clock is at 4:56. So Sotelo to the air, out in the flat. The ball is caught by Felix. Oh, he made a man miss, and he's going to have first down yardage. What a move. Another fantastic juke. He had the shoulder dip from Gage Felix. He dipped right, dipped back inside, Chris, and picked up the extra yardage.
He's a dynamic player, and you can see he actually got it to him a little bit sooner, so he had a chance to catch it and get north-south. One little shimmy, and it's a first down.
Fredo Sotelo to Gage Felix for 13 yards. That's a chain-moving catch. Sotelo has the ball, 1st and 10 at his own 20-yard line. 4 wide receivers in the game. Felix in the slot to the left. Sotelo to the air, steps up in the pocket. He's going to pitch it to Felix. It was a shovel pitch on the crossing route. A little bit of a mesh concept by Gage Felix, but the Firebird defense staying at home, reading their keys, doing a great job of reading the defense there.
Salpointe is getting small chunks, though. They're getting 3 and 4 yards a pop here. At some point, they're going to have to up their tempo, though.
2 catches for 16 yards on this drive for Gage Felix. Sotelo faces a 2nd and 7 from his own 23-yard line. Firebirds have 3 down linemen. Go back to the, well, now they're going to rush 4.
Yeah, they're playing soft coverage here.
Snap back to Sotelo. They run it right up the middle. And another big hole by Bettis. And he's got the first down and more. And he continues to burrow his way for extra yardage. He got
legs were churning there.
The first contact was at the 30. He took it out to the 36-yard line. That's an 8-yard carry. He needed 7 to move the chains. He got 8. 1st and 10 from his own 36-yard line.
I like the demeanor of this quarterback. He doesn't seem to be rattled one bit. He's just orchestrating the offense down the field right
When
now.
do the Lancers take a shot, Chris?
I think they're going to have to at some point.
Sotelo steps back, steps through the pocket. He's going to go down. He's going to get sacked. Here comes a penalty marker.
Might have a hold here.
Keegan Shank got to the quarterback, and Mike Lang, our official, indicates holding against Salpointe Catholic, and that's going to be a devastating call here against the Lancers, but it is the right call.
Yeah, it looked like he had a fistful of jersey.
So the clock will stop at the penalty. 3:14 to go. 3-point lead.
They're going to decline the penalty and take the sack.
Shaptown has the lead.
This is the time to cut your defensive line loose, get into pass rush mode, see if they can get some more pressure.
It's all about the pressure. 3:07 to go in this football game. It's been a well-played game. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as much as we have. 2nd and 14 after the penalty yardage. Snap back to Sotelo. Sotelo's going to escape the pressure. Here comes the Firebird defense. Sotelo has nowhere to go. Still on his feet to the 10, 15, 20, and he throws it finally, and the ball is intercepted on the boundary. It's picked off by Zachary House, and the Firebird contingent is in jubilation after the interception. Penalty marker on the field. Let's see what the flag's all about. Holy smokes.
I think that play took about 15 seconds.
You were talking about the poise of Sotelo, and he showed it again right here. Keegan Shank all over him. He just missed a sack, and then Sotelo on the run. He wanted to just get rid of the football. He did, and Zachary House.
Receiver downfield is the call on the play.
Well, let's double check that. It could have been Franz. I saw the two.
Number 21, Luke Franz.
It is Luke Franz. I beg your pardon. Luke Franz with the pick, a game-saving pick for Brent Barnes' football team. Perhaps. Still 2:42 to go.
Only one timeout left. I don't know if they're going to have enough time and enough to make a stop. They're going to have to go 3 and out here as their only chance.
Franz made a big play for Chaparral when they needed it most. You want to start off 1-0. You clearly do. Everybody has that.
Absolutely.
Their sights on playing in the open division. You need nearly a perfect record. Maybe one loss will get you in.
Ball security is the main concern now for the Firebirds.
Fantastic 6A football game here this evening. It's Vandenhoof on the play fake to the 50. 45, tries to split through a couple defenders, and he's going to be grabbed and brought down to the turf. Mason Sanchez and company making the tackle. Miles Vandenhoof was the ball carrier. He picked up 5 yards. And on the digital down the distance, you can see the red 2.
The esteemed Sherry Miller, SLM Images. She is the official
2:18 to go. 17-14 Birds with the lead and the football.
Every game, every
Imagine
season,
Chaparral will stay on the ground here.
Couple of first downs.
Yeah, that's all they need. They need 2 first downs here to ice this.
Thanks for all you do, Sherry.
So the Birds will, as CA pointed out, will use the clock here. 6 seconds on the play clock. They've got to get the snap off. Vandenhoof needs to snap it. And I don't think he got it off. But they run it up the middle to Halverson, and he gets dropped after no gain. Right there shooting the gap, an A-gap blitz, if you will, by Connor Ratesman.
Halverson with the carry.
So it'll be no gain.
Salpointe takes a timeout here. So this is all their eggs in this basket here.
I don't know if we could pick up the replay there, but if one of our cameras has the play clock, I think the play clock hit 0 on that last sequence. Either way, it doesn't matter. But I thought that they perhaps got away with one, did the Birds. And just going back to that mishandling of the time of the clock before that first half, these 3 points that the Birds have are looming pretty large.
They are. That would have been
to go.
That would have been a difference maker at this point. But Salpointe has a chance here. If they get a stop, they won't be able to stop the clock, but they should get the ball with something around 50 seconds to go.
You know, Coach Barnes, he spent some time in Norman, Oklahoma at Norman High. He was an assistant at one point. He was also part of the 3-time state champion at Tulsa Union. At Norman High School, Barnes' offense sets program records for points per game, 52, total yards per game, 540, and passing yards per game at 369. Brent Barnes knows offense, folks, whether he's in Norman, Oklahoma, or he's in Scottsdale, Arizona. This guy knows how to coach and teach offense, clearly.
That is apparent tonight for sure.
Braden Silbor has moved on. All right, here we go. This is Vandenhoof on the direct snap as the quarterback, a little zone read. He was going to keep it all the way, calling his own number. 1:31 to go, clock moving. It'll be down 3rd down. after the 1-yard gain. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Oh, it's 4th.
From the, correction, it is 4th down. So the digital, they were a little tardy on that.
Yeah, they were.
Okay, because I looked up at the clock. Everybody we were at 3rd down. So
it
it's
looks
4th
like they're
and
going
4.
for it here.
It's a big play. Well, a 1st down will probably win the game.
Oh, that's for sure.
So
for sure.
If
But it's not a gimme. It's 4th and 5.
4th and 4 from the 42-yard line. Lancers showing blitz, and they
Receiver
move.
jumped.
And now they're going to. It could very well. They're going to call it on the Birds. They're going to call false start on Chaparral. That's a huge play, Coach.
Yes, it is.
Who's now with less than a minute to go. Brent Barnes might elect to punt the football, and I think that's what he's going to do.
And the worst thing is the clock stops.
So the hard counts
Can hurt you too if you jump.
work to your benefit in many cases, but they can also sting you a little bit and bite you if it's not executed to perfection. In this case, it wasn't. And it was a point, though, that you could see them calling offsides or encroachment on the right side as well.
Multiple people moved.
Yeah.
I think the side judge saw the receiver go first, and I think that was his call because he was in his line of sight.
So back deep on his own 5-yard line is Gage Felix.
Can he get a return here and get them into some decent field position?
This is the hunt punt. It's fumbled at the 5, and Felix is going to cover it up. So we take a minute and 30 off the clock, Chris. We go right back to where we started at the 5-yard line again.
48 seconds and no timeouts. If you got a magic play, this would be the time to call it.
Well, you got to figure they're going to take a shot down the field with Gage Felix at some point.
I think you can still work the sideline a little bit, get yourself to the 40 maybe, so you're not going to throw the ball 90 yards in the air. But, you have enough time to work the sideline here.
Not a lot of guys that are playing the game today can throw the ball 90 yards down the field. I'll tell you what, though, Dylan Raiola, the quarterback for Chandler High, he grew up in Scottsdale at Scottsdale Christian Academy, his youth days, tearing things up over there. Left the state, now he's back in the state. Pop's played in the league, but now he's leading the Chandler Wolves, and he can throw the ball 70 yards in the air.
That's impressive.
That is very impressive. KDB along with Chris Andreella's 4th quarter. Here comes Sotelo from his own end zone. His jump pass is thrown to the outside by Gage, makes the reception. Felix makes the catch. On the touch out of bounds, credit the tackle to Dominic Espinoza. That's his 3rd of the evening. And for Sotelo to Gage, Felix good for about, we'll call it 6 yards. 2nd and 4 from the 12-yard line. With a full wide receiver package. Burns showing blitz to the edge. Clock stopped with 42 seconds to go on this 2nd down play.
Firebirds need to keep everybody in front of them. Make sure nobody gets behind.
Nothing past the secondary.
As long as they do that, they should be fine here.
Good snap to Sotelo. Steps through the pocket. He dumps it off over the middle. The ball is going to be caught. And getting taken out immediately is the tailback. That is, well, in this case, the tight end, Damian Colney. And the Lancers are going to try to clock it here as they move the chains. They have to have enough time, and they stop the clock to move the chains as Fredo Sotelo will clock it.
The high school game, you have that luxury of the chain crew. They got to get set up, so it bought them an extra time to get the snap off without burning too much time off the clock.
Chris, if you recall the last play of the 2nd half, Miles Vandenhoof will try to clock it. They had 2 seconds on the scoreboard. He clocked it, and the 2 seconds ran off.
They blew the whistle. He had a cadence. By the time he snapped it, it was too late.
2nd and 10 from the 12-yard line. Sotelo going back to work. Sotelo steps up in the pocket. He fires a strike, and the ball is caught by Damian Coley. That'll be enough to move the chains. Nice ball there by Sotelo. 23 seconds to go. As the pep band has really picked up the volume here, the percussionists are making it happen. Another clock down there by Fredo Sotelo.
They might be setting up a
bomb?
Stop and go with the tight end there. They've hit him 2 times in a row on that same route. Maybe they pump him and then send him downfield, see if they can get something going that way.
I would think that they would get Felix to start the route on the boundary and then bend it in somewhere on a post and try to shake the defender.
I can assure you he's getting a lot of attention from that secondary right now. Matter of fact, if you look, that safety number 16 over the top, there, he's bracketed.
Max Springfield is the man. I picked up at the same time. They're a little ISO cam on Springfield. He's hinting that way. And they throw a pass out to Felix. He makes the catch at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, this is efficient. They're moving the chains here. Maybe they're thinking just get into field goal range. Chance to tie it, send it to overtime.
Gain of 11 yards, Sotelo to Gates Felix. 16 seconds ago, 3-point ball game.
Realistically, 30 more yards would put them into range. But they wouldn't have a timeout to stop the clock, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out here.
Very well be. The lack of timeouts is going to potentially be a wrinkle for Salpointe Catholic. This is Sotelo under a blitz. He evades the pressure. He dumps it off out in the flat. The ball's going to be caught. And going down the sideline to 50. This is Green, 30. He's a block. Oh, he gets one. He gets drilled out of bounds. With 4 seconds to go, do they get in field goal range?
I think you have to here. You know, they were making it in warm-ups here. It'll be a 25. 38-yarder.
At the Chaparral 28-yard line.
No, it'll be a 44-yarder.
27-yard play to Green. Jackson Green. This will be Fisk. This will be a 45-yard attempt with 4 seconds to go from the near hash.
Play clock ticking down here. They're going to have to get this snap off fast.
Carson Fisk to tie the game. The kick is on its way. It has plenty of leg. The kick is good. They tie the game. As time expires here, we will go to overtime. Carson Fisk with ice waters in his veins. A 45-yard field goal to tie the game, and this Firebird contingent is stunned.
That's a disciplined football team there for that kicking team to come out there and get set up and get that kickoff in time. I mean, it's a well-coached football team right there.
What a special teams play by Eric Rogers and his football team. Carson Fisk from 45 yards out ties the football game up. And we will go to overtime. Early in the second quarter, Chris, the thought was there. I'm like, this is the type of game that could go to OT. I didn't say it because I didn't want to jinx it, but boy, I was thinking it. And here we are. We're going to take a break. Oh, my. Overtime is next. You're watching a special edition of Thursday Night Football on Friday Night Lights on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. Welcome you back to the home of the Chaparral Firebirds.
So for those of you who do not remember the Arizona High School football,
we will go to overtime here after the 45-yard field goal by Carson Fisk. So the Firebirds, I believe, are going to have the rock here in overtime.
Looks like they're going to spot it on the 10. 4 plays to score.
Each team will get a possession of the football at the 10-yard line.
So I got a quick reminder from somebody more educated.
What a ball game here tonight.
Phenomenal.
Special thank you to my broadcast team, Chris Andriatis.
10-yard line. 4 downs.
And Cat Jones, Greg Jones.
See a lot of great qualities in these players tonight, specifically the quarterbacks, being able to come up and make big plays
So it will be
when the pressure is on.
effectively first and goal.
Fredo Sotelo there at the end there, buying time, finding Jackson Green on the move, who had a great run there and got him in field goal range. And then the field goal team coming out and making that big kick. What a game.
Chris,
great game.
Twice they were on the 5-yard line. We thought that 95-yard. They got it done on the second time.
Yes, they did.
Well played game here tonight. What a treat here in Scottsdale. We're going to overtime to settle this one. So no time on the clock. They're just going to get a chance in 4 plays to try to punch it in. And if both teams should score,
keep going.
We'll keep this thing rolling.
The kicking game becomes crucial in these situations here. You know, one missed extra point can be the difference here.
So it appears as though that the Lancers will actually have the football first. I think the Firebirds won the toss and deferred to play defense.
They must have, yeah. You want to go second in this situation, so you know what you have to get to win.
So let's have some fun, Chris. Let's play a little coach on the radio, if you will, or on the television, if you like in this case. If you score a touchdown here, is it an automatic gimme? You go for the point after and just make it an even 7 if you score the touchdown? Or if you get down to a 4th and goal situation, do you take the 3?
I think it depends on the feel of the game. You know, I remember that happened when we played Perry in 2019, and we went 5 overtimes, and we went for 2 at the end because our guys were done. You know, so if you get the sense that momentum is going away and your guys are gassed, if you have one chance to win the game on one play, you do it.
And it was Ty McElroy that got stopped in the backfield for that one. Final score, what was it, 69-68?
Yeah. That was
4 overtimes.
Yeah.
One of the most incredible high school games I ever broadcast, and you were the offensive coordinator with Tabor Lamar that night.
Yes.
And that was a team that led the 6A conference in offense in 2019, a state championship run. That team that you referenced, that you were the offensive coordinator with Tabor Lamar, led the 6A conference in offense, and that's saying something when the Chandler Wolves are playing tackle football.
That's correct. We scored the most points. They had a higher average because they played one less game.
Here we go. It'll be Fredo Sotelo from the 10-yard line. To his left is Bettis Roberts. Felix in motion. They want to set up a screen. Sotelo again scrambling for his life. Sotelo to the near side. Sotelo's going to run it to the 5, and he's going to scamper out of bounds inside the 5-yard line, maybe around the 2-yard line. Great pressure again, pursuing the quarterback. From Chaparral's perspective was Nick Dorflin.
Sotelo's confidence has grown immensely since we saw him in the first quarter tonight. He's running around. He looks like Aaron Rodgers out there.
You said he was poised, and he really is. He's played a poised game.
Yeah.
Playing in his first start. He's thrown his first touchdown pass here tonight, and now he's got a 2nd and goal from the 2 with Betts. This is going to be Betts, and Betts is going to get stuffed on the right side. Great defense by the left side of the interior of the Chaparral defense. Franz shooting the gap in there. He had the big-time interception. At one point, you thought the Birds could maybe hold on and win the game at that point.
Yeah, this is a tough situation when you go to goal line. These teams that like to be traditionally in shotgun. Now you're asking your quarterback to get under center, and it's a whole different set of movements.
No gain. 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line. We are in overtime. Sotelo under center. Betts is the tailback. And now we get movement up front. And both sides of the line of scrimmage are pointing at one another. This will go into the hands of the line judge and referee Mike Lang.
All depends if the defensive lineman broke the plane of the line of scrimmage. Nope, they're going to call false start on the offense.
That's a tough call against Eric Rogers' football team. You can see the dismay on that sideline. And it's a pretty small group numbers-wise for the Lancers. They don't have that 80, 85, 90 roster here tonight. It looks like about 60 guys or less, Chris.
They may have to pick and choose for those travel games.
So now with a 5-yard penalty, it's 3rd and goal from the 7. This changes everything for the play calling here for the offensive coordinator.
It's going to be the Fredo show again here. Might actually be an advantage because it buys them a little more room to run around. Guys get open, we'll see. Looks like we're getting man here.
At the top of your screen, it's Killingsworth. Out of the pistol, again, it's Sotelo. Fredo. Throw to the end zone. Back of the corner, the ball is batted around, and it's broken up. The Firebirds broke it up.
He had the guy.
Franz back there again. Chris, who was back there? Max Springfield and Luke Franz. They're going to say the PBU belongs to Dominic Espinoza. And this will be a 4th and goal. They're going to ask Connor Fisk to give them the lead.
That's a good idea to take some points. Don't come away empty-handed.
Got to.
It's going to put the pressure on their defense, though.
Number 14, Carson.
So
Big
Fisk
kick.
will kick it. This will be a 24-yard attempt. The snap is back. The hold is down, and the Connor Fisk kick is good.
Field goal is good.
The 24-yarder is good. Our new score here in overtime. Salpointe Catholic 20, Chaparral 17. And now Brent Barnes and his quarterbacks will get a chance to punch it in. And maybe a touchdown will win this game. Not maybe, a touchdown will win this football game. So it'll be Miles Vandenheuvel will get a chance from the 10. In this case, they're going to run out Bryce Hergis. Interesting selection. So it'll be Hergis will get the snaps here in overtime. Halverson will be flanked to his right. Plas Johnson with single coverage to the near side. Mesa in the slot to the left. Snap is back to Hergis. Going for the win right away. It's Mesa. He's got it for the game-winning touchdown.
Just went up and high-pointed it. Big catch radius for that young man.
Bryce Hergis to Gavin Mesa, 10 yards away for the game-winning and 3rd touchdown of the night for Gavin Mesa. Give that young man a hat trick, and this one is a game winner. In overtime. Oh my.
That was a heck of a throw, heck of a catch. You know, and that DB didn't do anything wrong. He was in position. He was just not 6'3".
That was a fantastic football play. The pass from Bryce Hergis, as CA just pointed out. Perfect ball. Look at the replay again here. Great arc, high pointing it. Advantage Chaparral, advantage Gavin Mesa. Not once, not twice, but thrice into the end zone. What a fantastic high school football game.
Great way to start the year off, Kevin. Great. I hope they're all like this.
The handshakes commence at the 50-yard line. What a tremendous high school football game. Chris, it has been an absolute pleasure.
It has. A lot of fun.
We will take a quick break and we'll wrap things up right after this. You're watching a very special edition of Thursday Night Football on Friday Night Lights on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. We welcome you back here in Scottsdale, home of the Firebirds. I'm Kevin Derryberry alongside Chris Andrianis, where the Firebirds win it in overtime, 23-20. And Chris, what a fantastic football game. Very well played on both sides.
Lived up to the hype for sure. You can tell that these two programs are well coached. They played hard all the way to the end, and unfortunately had to end, and the Firebirds came away with the victory tonight.
It was a thrilling game in dramatic fashion. You have to go to the special teams. As time would expire, Connor Fisk would drill one from 45 yards out to force overtime. They get another field goal from Fisk in the first overtime period. And then on the very first play, with the Firebirds getting the rock in OT, they turn it into a touchdown, the 3rd of the game, to Gavin Mesa. And as we pointed out just before we went to break, a picture-perfect ball there by Bryce Hergis. Well played across the board. Plas Johnson, a fantastic game for the Firebirds. There was a lot of playmaking on both sides of the football. It was just it was an absolute barn burner here to open up the 2022 football season. Was there a better game anywhere else?
I don't think so. Not a more competitive one, that's for sure.
Incredible stuff. You had pointed out that the quarterback play of Salpointe's, their quarterback getting a start tonight, Fredo Sotelo, showed a lot of poise. He was very good outside the pocket. He would extend some plays here to there. And their ground game was pretty good as well. They used a bunch of different runners to keep guys fresh here on this week one. We talked about the elements. It was extremely hot. It was balmy. Guys had to stay hydrated. And overall, not a lot of penalties. Didn't see a lot of cramping. It was just again, to repeat ourselves, it was well played tackle football game here in the 6A conference. Special thank you to our camera operator, Joey B., my technical producer, Mr. Greg Jones, Cat Jones, and my partner here this evening, Chris Andrianis. For everyone here on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network and for the Chaparral Firebirds opening up their 50th campaign, they start off with a win here. They win it 23-20 for our first game on the Zone 48 Broadcast Network. Good night, everybody. Until next time, so long for now.